Welcome back to episode 7 of The Brain Jar, the show where you control how spicy your take is. Now we've got returning guests Sift and KennyD, and we've got a new guest, SquaredG. SquaredG, introduce yourself. How are you today?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks. Thanks for asking. Back. Yeah, I'm good. First time on my show. Yeah, excited to be here. To share my takes, I guess,
Yes.
with the world.
Of course. And this is going to be a little bit of a different look to what we usually do. This time we're going to be discussing more specifically around IEM Rio. Now, IEM Rio is going to be in about 3 or 4 days, depending on 3 or 2 days, rather, depending when you see this. And apart from Team Spirit, who aren't attending, who notorious for skipping a bunch of events, we've got basically all the highlights, all the teams that you'd want to see at this event, and a couple of course, regional teams. And it gives us a lot to sink our teeth into conversationally. So I think I'll start us off with my 90% take to lead us into it. And it's going to be about complexity. And now, complexity in recent form, of course, everyone will remember what they did at EPO. They had a bit of a surge in form. It was a team performance, which is, notable for them. Usually we just talk about Elite and nobody else. But this time we had a little bit of a spread across the board in terms of stats. But it's happened before and it'll happen again. And I'm saying there's a 90% chance that complexity goes out in either last or second to last place. And as a bonus sort of overarching concept, not really connected, I think it'll return to the elite fragging, nobody else contributing kind of form. So if you look at the bracket, they've got Liquid up first. These are best of ones, by the way, which is outrageous that a best of one is an opening round in a tournament to this day. But, I guess they're going to change the circuit up in the future, whatever, right? So
that is disgusting. Bro.
That aside, they've got Liquid. Liquid, at this point, we've kind of... I think the consensus, maybe this is just my consensus, I think they're a good team. They don't have what it takes in terms of a lot of things I'm still missing, but they have individuals, and it's enough to at least win them a best of one against complexity, in my opinion. And then potentially what shows up next is Imperial, NaVi in a best of 3. Unironically, I think Imperial stand a pretty good chance at beating them. It's hometown, maybe a bit of an aura
in a
buff
best
there.
of 1, sure.
Best of 3, I'm even saying.
Ooh, that's pretty
I think
wild
Imperial
take,
are
I'm
on a
not
bit of an
gonna lie.
uptick, in my opinion, as well. They've got Try and...
Yeah, but NaVi are like top 2, top 3
No, I'm saying
team in the
Imperial
world.
versus Complexity.
Oh, I thought you... Right.
Yeah. He thinks,
I was thinking, holy shit.
Because if they go to the bottom
Imperial
bracket,
versus...
they're gonna... Or even if they win, they're going to verse either Imperial or NaVi, as far as I understand it. So, I think...
Yeah.
Yes, go on.
If Imperial beats NaVi in best of 1, yes.
No, but if Imperial beats NaVi, and then Complexity would need to beat Liquid as well. But if Imperial lose to NaVi, then don't they still play Complexity?
Yeah, they would play Imperial and Complexity in the low bracket.
Yes,
yeah.
And
sorry, I misunderstood what you were saying. I was like, holy shit.
No, I'm not calling Imperial to beat NaVi 90%. That'd be delusion. But I do think that if you consider all the possible circumstances, even if they win one of these games, I think that there's just too many opportunities for Complexity to trip. I think that it's happened again that their form drops off after one good, ESL Pro League run.
Yeah.
And if you look at the teams in the group, right? If you look at Group A for a moment there, if you put Complexity up against any of these teams, you have a hard time being convincing in favoring Complexity.
I'd say they'd be convincing versus Pain.
Pain are actually pretty good,
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like
I don't know if they beat Pain, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. If you actually look at the matchup, it starts, and also they're not ever really gonna play Pain because of the brackets,
the reason I'm doubtful about Pain is they've got good results, but like look who they're going against: Bestia, Fluxo, Red Canids.
Yeah,
like,
Complexity fits sliding with those names, in my opinion. But that's me disregarding their recent run at Pro League. I'm not believing, and I don't think.
Oh no, it's definitely you shouldn't expect while they'd had a boot camp just before that event. I don't know if they've boot camped again. I don't know if any of you can say whether they've boot camped again.
Sure. I would imagine they wouldn't have boot camped before this because they would have to fly here.
Yeah, that's true.
The fact is, that Pro League run felt a bit artificial in a way it was done because of the form of MOUZ and FaZe more than anything. I'm not even considering Astralis because let's be
Yeah.
honest, it's Astralis. But the MOUZ and FaZe should have been beating complexity in the circumstances they were. The fact they didn't is ridiculous.
Everyone was just popping off. I mean, I don't want to say it wasn't just about individual skill. Although admittedly, like the only times I watched them play was versus FaZe and Astralis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, the Astralis game, at least not in the 2-0. Actually, yeah, in the
It was a 2-1
I can't
game.
remember which map it was. I think it was the nuke.
Yeah.
No, because they 2-0'd and then they 2-1'd.
Yeah. 2-0 initially, then 2-1. But 2-0 was
2-0
tight.
Yeah,
2-0 was very
2-0
tight.
in Nuke was atrocious. It like holy
You mean Vertigo or Inferno? Because there's Vertigo and Inferno they played on 2-0.
Okay, I am thinking of the 2-1 then, because they
Yeah.
played Nuke.
2-1
just
nuke overtime, 16-14.
Yeah, I remember the Nuke was atrocious because, like, seriously, no strats were being played in that fucking game by either side. Like, it was not literally no strat, but like, God, it pained me to watch.
Yeah. And another thing that just to bring up the context, last Pro League, so last season they came top 4, right? And then the event right after they played IEM Dallas, they went out last place. So like
That was a different roster though, right?
complexity, no, it wasn't. Well, they haven't made a roster change complexity for like ages,
Huh.
have they? Well, when's the last? Complexity might be one of the longest standing rosters since Elige. They haven't made any change. And Elige
Fair enough.
joined a year and 3 months. Yeah, because it was the start of CS2. Remember, IEM Sydney.
Right.
And
I
since
think
then,
I'm
they've been the exact
getting
same team.
NA teams mixed up because I keep thinking
No.
of
And-
Liquid. I think
I mean,
just because the
looking
Elige was on
into-
Liquid so long.
Yeah, complexity. I just don't think this resurgence as I had in EPL is gonna be. They're gonna be continuing into IEM also. It makes
I
total
mean,
sense
It
from that
could.
perspective.
there is a chance
When
could,
it
but
comes
I'm
down
just
to
not
Liquid
banking on it.
versus Cole, it's more about
Be a one.
I'd say it's more about is Liquid gonna flub it rather than is Complexity gonna win it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who's more awake, really?
Yeah.
If by some miracle they beat Liquid and Imperial beat NaVi in a best of 1 somehow,
That's their best chance, for sure.
that's the best chance.
And even then,
I'd
that's a
say.
lot. It's a
because
lot.
I don't think
Yeah.
in a best of 3 against Navi they have very minuscule chance. I feel like.
Yeah, of course. I don't think
Anybody.
I only have 2 locks in this tournament, and it's Navi and Vitality. The rest, I'm like, I don't believe in you. I have to see it first.
I don't know.
I
I mean,
have-
Vitality have shown some
yeah.
weakness.
Yeah, but the
Previous
weakness
event,
is that
they-
like, what do you call it? I don't know if they're gonna lose to Eternal Fire again. That's my view.
Weakness is ZywOo not picking up Orb.
I've got a point.
I mean,
on something related to that. My 50%.
part of it is Eternal Fire is a very, very good aggressive team.
Yeah.
I never had faith in their best of 3s, but with their recent EPL, I can't tell how much of it is Navi just really seeming to capitulate in best of 5s. I don't know what it is, if it's a mental thing or whatever.
I
But
think it
like
has to be
them
mental.
beating Vitality in a best of 3 was genuinely like that. I didn't watch the game to preface
It
this.
was actually really good CS. Like
Right.
Voxic
good.
Voxic and Zantares were playing well. Majid did some really good calls mid round.
But was
to-
Vitality like crumbling? Did ZywOo like not show up as much as he should
Wasn't
have?
ZywOo playing really well in that event? Or was that a game even?
Yeah, I remember
ZywOo was
Apex
good.
just completely.
ZywOo wasn't.
Yeah, Apex had
it
like a
was
0.7
Crumbling.
or something in that game.
Yeah,
Okay.
Apex lost it. Apex really
Yeah,
lost the plot.
ZywOo
for
1.4,
majority of that
Apex
series.
0.74. Like,
Yeah.
That's
But-
across the match though, because like what I mean is in a single map.
well,
Um,
the maps that you have won were very close maps. That's for sure.
Yeah. It was
'Cause,
all.
like,
It was a
I was
tight battle.
thinking, like, is it a case where
Well, I mean, if
the
you want to
ZywOo
look at the
got
close
like
maps,
2
ZywOo
point-
was 1.4 in
Yeah.
both of them, and Apex was 0.9 and 0.6.
The thing is, it's like
Oh,
if
okay,
you
I
put
thought it was a best of 3. I thought it went all 3
If I
maps. I'm
simulate-
sorry,
It did
I
go all
should
3
have done a
maps.
lot
It
more
did go all
research.
3 maps.
Yeah.
Vitality stomped them
all
on
3
Nuke.
maps. Yeah.
Right.
But just the 2
If I
maps that they lost were
simulate
very
that,
close.
if I simulate that match 10 times, Vitality probably wins 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
With the form that EF had.
Oh yeah, it
Oh.
looks like Apex really capitulated on him.
Yeah, Apex
Yeah.
lost the plot. Like
And Apex,
he was
Apex
being.
is also like I don't trust Apex to keep calling well when he's individually really struggling. Like,
Yes.
I mean, admittedly,
yeah.
Okay, I was looking at CT&T stats, and it doesn't help him at all, really. I was about to say because admittedly, if they get like a stack on like B or A site, and it's just save simulator on Inferno, but no, it doesn't help because he has 0.5 on fucking T side.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
0.51.
Yeah.
Give him some credit.
Okay, so regarding Cole, I
Yeah,
think if
yeah.
we go back, right?
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah,
I think
90% for last or even second to last. So I'm including last and second to last. 90%. You think it's
I think it makes total sense.
In the group or
well, in
overall?
the tournament, in the
Overall,
tournament.
in a tournament,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's
Well, I mean, it
16
would be the
teams, they're
same.
gonna be 15, 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think it
I
makes
don't
total
know,
sense.
like 9Z. Because them going out would require them losing, as you said, like most likely both to Liquid and Imperial.
Okay,
right?
yes, but what happens if, let's say, they lose to Liquid, which is plausible, but then
definitely.
Imperial beats NaVi, that they are in a lower bracket with NaVi.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is
that-
best of one openings.
yeah.
A lot is stacked against them. For them not to come in last or well, if they don't come in second to last,
They need to beat Liquid, basically,
Yes.
if they want to be. Which is
To go out last or second last, they would need to lose the first 2 games, basically.
well, or they could win one and lose the
Even if
other
they
2.
lose in
Yeah.
lower semifinals, they're no longer in.
Well, they're in second to
last
last
or
place.
second last.
Yeah.
No, because you said across the whole event, not the group.
No, that's the same thing. The last tier
No,
is
because if
13th.
somebody goes out last in
okay,
Group B
so
and
bottom
somebody
half
goes
of
out
the
last
event.
in Group
Bottom
A,
half of the event then.
okay.
Yeah, it's
That's the
13
same
to
thing.
16, basically.
13 to 16,
Yeah,
9
it's
to
same
12.
stuff.
Those are 2 positions. There's no difference. There's no 15 or
Right,
16.
okay, I thought it was 15 to 16.
I'm
Okay.
saying they won't
No,
win
no,
more than one game, to put it in the most straightforward way.
Yeah, that's reasonable considering the group they're in. Like, even best case scenario, if they beat I mean, their best case scenario is beating Liquid and then Imperial beat NaVi and then beating.
Yeah, and what do you put the odds of that
I
happening
can
as?
see the
Right?
90%.
That's like,
I can see the 90%. Yeah.
It's
Yep.
just next to impossible, in my opinion. But anyway, I mean, listen.
And then even if they beat Liquid in the lower bracket,
well,
they then have to beat Imperial in a best of 3.
You mean in the opening game?
No,
you mean?
Yeah.
opening game.
Yeah.
Even if they lost to Liquid and then beat Imperial in the lower round, they'd then need to beat.
They would need to fight somebody else.
Probably Liquid in the lower semifinals.
Is this the format where the other upper games loser goes to them, or do they flip
Yes.
it? I think so, right?
Yeah.
So then
I think so, yeah.
their best chance would be Pain then, potentially somehow, and even then, like, I mean, we're going through so many hoops to get complexity to win
Yeah,
games.
I think-
So
like,
I agree with your 90%. Yeah.
90% sounds great.
yeah, okay. I think that's enough for complexity. That's about all that they deserve. No offense, complexity. I'm sure someone's got hope for you, but I'm
Absolutely
not one.
roasting them.
Okay, SquaredG, I think I'll hand it to you as our guest of honor for today. What's your 90% take?
My 90% take, which will go a bit against what you said earlier about your locks, about, NaVi and Vitality, is, it is kind of hot now that I think about it again, but yeah. It's that Vitality will not be making finals again.
This
I
year?
trust them. Yeah, not this year, for this event. I mean, they
Okay.
will not make the finals of the IEM Rio.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's a hot take now that I think about it. Especially if you look at their if you look at their bracket, there's not really much competition there. They're playing their first game against 9Z, and then next game against either VP or the Mongols. These are all teams they should be beating. Let's
Yeah.
be honest. In general,
Yeah.
Group B I think is just very very weak compared to Group A for my money at least.
Which is funny because
Like
Group
I
Group
can
A
see
is the
some.
least European group.
Yeah, it is, but I don't know. I feel like there's more value to some of the teams there.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
In my opinion, at least. I don't know.
don't know.
But
I
yeah.
think it could be up. There's a
Anyway,
lot more question marks, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
I don't know
90%.
about 90%.
Yeah,
That's
it
Yeah,
feels
the
high.
90% is a lot. But
It is
I
high,
was gonna
but I
say,
don't know.
I was gonna say
I see a
90%,
I see a downwards trend in general. Like they lost against Internal Fire in EPL.
they lost
Lately
the
I
semis
don't.
in Blast.
Yeah, semis in
Yes.
Blast. That's what I wanted to say as well.
But it was
And,
tied a loss also. Like I just cannot put Vitality in the same bracket of not possibly making a final at 90%.
and also like they only need to win 4 matches to make
Yes.
to make finals in this event.
And the
Right?
bracket,
So that would be NaVi, sorry, 9Z rather, probably Mongols.
Yeah.
Either most
G2,
likely
Eternal
Fire.
G2,
Yeah.
and then it depends who they
By the way,
get
did
in
they
the-
announce? Did they miss or did they? And they, what do you call it? The final is listed as best of 5 now. Did they revert those changes? The IEMs didn't used to. They used to be best of 5s and they changed it back, and now this one's best of 5
Still
in the grand
seems to
final,
say best of 5, yeah.
which is
Yeah,
interesting.
that's a
I
bit
think-
fun.
I mean, it really depends who they get in semifinals, but like, let's go down the list. It's going to be either NaVi, FaZe. I'm not sure how they group it. So it would probably be either NaVi or FaZe, possibly Liquid.
Well, I mean, figuring out who they're playing in the playoffs is going to be a lot of like guessing. That's not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking at the
possible.
teams who you would expect to see in like quarters
Yeah.
or to get into finals, probably Astralis, G2, Vitality, assuming Vitality goes to semifinals.
Well, they will still need to win the upper final.
Well,
to go
it's
to
three.
semifinals,
It's
that's
3
the
per
thing.
group, right? It's 3 per
Yeah.
group.
Yes.
Because
The upper final,
I would
2
say-
go, and then the lower final takes 1.
yeah. So of Group A, I would say probably most likely is like NaVi, FaZe, and either MOUZ or Liquid.
Well,
And Group B, Vitality, G2, maybe Astralis. I'll talk a little bit about that later, but
Yeah, it is a
I
hot
could-
take in
I
my
could see
opinion.
yeah,
Vitality
it's
beating,
definitely
like,
a hot
large
take
amount of those
because
teams.
Yeah, I just don't think I can put it with the only reason I can get behind your guess because 9Z has 100% win rate against Vitality this year.
Yeah, but they've also been regressing a lot since
Like
the
only
Cologne.
because of that I can say Vitality may bomb out. But
I'd understand this more if it was like maybe 50%, but 90% seems a little.
It is very
high.
optimistic. I just don't trust Vitality that much, I guess. I
fair
don't.
enough.
Going back to what Backpack said earlier. I don't know about Apex's calling when his stats are not that good.
yeah,
Like when he's individually doing bad in the game, it feels like the whole team collapses somehow. And other than Cologne, you know, I don't know. This team hasn't done that much in my opinion. And if we want to keep the same standards for every team, you know.
yeah. Well, that
Yes,
was the narrative, right?
G2 could have an era. We're all saying that.
Whoa,
Like,
where is that
I don't know if
coming
we are
from?
all saying that. I don't think anybody
Most
said
of
that
the
actually.
people-
I've never heard anyone say it.
nobody said
Nah,
that.
that is
Is that- is
crazy.
that your-
That
No.
is
That's a-
New
crazy.
That's a
take dropped.
10%.
New take dropped.
Yeah.
No,
That is
10%.
insane. Like they've got a lot of firepower, but firepower is historically the most inconsistent thing in the game. You need a lot more consistency for
Yes.
an era.
I'm not saying right now, by the way. I'm saying even in the past. You have two of the best players in the world.
Yeah, but
in
like
G2.
they have to for them to build an era. I mean, assuming
Yeah.
NiKo leaves,
So many things.
like
So many stuff has to.
like
Also-
even if they
side
win the
point-
rest of the events in the year, I don't even think it's an
That's
era
not-
because NiKo leaves and then they stop
No,
winning.
you can't
Like,
consider it an
it
era
does-
over one season.
No,
I-
because
okay.
we don't really
in
count
my
like Liquid
opinion-
and Navi's like best form.
Yeah, in my opinion, for it to be an era, it has to cover at least more than one season.
Yeah.
Maybe
No,
I phrase
I-
maybe I
I-
phrase it.
Seems
Maybe I
kind of
phrase it.
reasonable.
Maybe I phrased it.
Yeah,
wrong.
we could get into a long
I mean,
conversation about what
just-
constitutes an era.
Yeah,
right?
sorry.
But at the end of the,
Vitality. Let's.
yeah, if we talk about Vitality,
Vitality.
90%. The thing is, if I look at their group, for them to make the semifinals, I actually think that there's a decent chance that like G2 or Astralis, like I mean, listen, I didn't say that they would have an era, but they could beat Vitality in the upper finals, like a semi-stakes game. You know, moves you up in the playoffs, but it also doesn't really do anything for you, right? So I could see
You know,
like,
bad air quality, all
well,
that
who
stuff.
knows?
Yeah.
But like in terms of 90% to not make the final, I would have. I
That's
can't
wild,
place it
then.
that high.
Yeah.
I can't, in good faith. Just
Yeah.
just because then I have to consider who else is going to be there and how likely that is. And the more I think about it, the more I'm just like in doubt.
Yeah.
But like
I
when I
can
said
see it.
Vitality and
I
Navi
just
were
don't
locks,
believe
I
that's-
meant those were my only playoff locks. I didn't mean anything more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I specifically said about going to the finals. I
Yeah.
think they will reach quarters or even semis, but I don't know about finals specifically. They haven't done it in like 3
Yeah.
tournaments now, and
now, if you said
Yeah.
90%
I'd
they
say
won't
out of
win,
the
if you said,
tournaments
then I would
which-
actually agree with you.
I'd say out of the
If-
tournaments which they have to have had to play, I'd say this is gotta be one of the weaker ones. I know that on paper, there's quite a few good teams.
Well, who's
here,
missing
but,
to
like,
make this stronger?
people
Spirit,
are gonna
that's it,
be-
right?
Spirit.
Who's
Spirit,
who
that's
else?
it.
Is
but like it's more about the context, the overall context.
Yeah, but
of
then
it. I
if
don't know
you
this
context
is-
every event, then the only thing that matters is Catacolon and the majors. Like you still have to consider a tournament victory as a tournament victory.
I
Yeah.
don't mean in terms of the event itself. I mean in terms of what events are coming up. I think
Well,
teams are. I don't know.
this is the
I
only
disagree with
they
my
got
own
this
statement
event,
there. I
and then
retract that
you
statement.
got Blast World Final in 26 days. You got this
And
and,
then
then
it's
RMRs.
major.
yeah, exactly.
And then it's major.
So like
It's
they
lo-
should actually try to win this event. They should. And by the way, Vitality were talking in the EPL. They were talking about winning it for the Grand Slam, and they didn't do it. But they actually it was in their minds. But I think Apex talked about it. So this is also one that will
That's-
count. Like
Also, side joke about Apex. Clearly, he's just saving his strats for Falcons.
yes, we can
Yeah.
Apex. And I do want to see Apex and
about
Falcons. just for the
Simple's
fun of it.
return.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want, you know what? I want it to happen just for the sake of. I want to see Apex, NiKo, and Simple on the same
I
team.
want to see Hooksy and
raging.
Vitality is what I want to see.
By the way, that's
Yeah, that is a despicable fucking statement.
I'll continue to
Hooksy on
satisfy it.
Vitality.
Yeah.
The most fucking. The most fucking fail upwards fucking promotion of all time.
Yeah, then he wins the major.
I mean,
as
Snacks did
intended.
it. Why not?
Exactly.
Yeah, but
Anyway.
at
No.
least
Okay,
having some-
now you're cooking. Hooksy back to G2, Snacks to Vitality.
Oh god.
Actually, fuck off.
There we go.
What the
now,
fuck?
now
Okay.
that's the ultimate roster move. But anyway, I think 90%.
We can move to the
Yeah,
next one.
I think we all
Optimistic,
conclusively
yeah.
said I don't know about that one, but
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know
most
about
of
that
us
one.
agree. It's very, very optimistic. But if Square
yeah,
thinks
but I
so,
think I see where you're
we'll
coming
just
from.
have to see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just a few
I'll
steps
be
away
here
from
when
that.
I'm proven right.
Of course, of course. Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, we'll move on. Kenny, what's your 90%?
I mean, I think we've discussed this one before, but that's why I have to really change it. But I think mine is kind of similar as Square ones, to be honest. It's NaVi will be reaching semifinals, but not the finals this time.
We've got
think-
we've got a couple of doubters
Fatigue-
of the best teams. I see.
Yes, Fatigue, many finals, and some rested teams such as
Yeah,
the
well, we didn't
F1
really
Bulls.
talk about Navi, so we can talk about Navi.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I just want to, because it's kind of similar idea take to
Yeah, but I
Vitality.
mean that's fine.
but I think it's a 90% in regards to having another final will be insane for this team.
But they've, I mean,
You
they've
know,
been doing it
because
so far, right? Like,
yeah, but the more it goes, the less the more you feel like this team is getting tired.
I mean, I
This
guess
last
it is
tournament, the
true that they are
Blast
getting
one,
tired. They've talked about it as well.
yeah,
But
this Blast tournament, you could see them because the break between EPL and Blast was literally like 4
yes,
days, I
it
think.
was like a day, 23rd, 25th. Like,
Yeah, and they didn't have time to rest, and now there's been less than a week for
well,
them
they
to
technically got more
recoup.
rest, so this should be
So
more
what they
likely.
did, Navi, in a way, yes. But what they did, they flew to Brazil, I think, on Tuesday. So I think that on
Well, that's
Tuesdays they're
better,
already
no?
in Brazil. Yeah, in retrospective, yes, but I think it wouldn't, on the grand scheme of things, it wouldn't change the fact that they have not rested for last like what, 4 weeks now, properly. They haven't had like a 1 week off when they go back home and manage to like rest, and I think this will affect them
I
immensely.
mean, I guess with
Also,
vitality,
BO1,
it's true.
BO1.
Yeah, BO1 is true. I mean, despite the fact that I say, Imperial can beat Complexity, I don't know if Imperial can beat Navi,
Yeah,
and by I don't know, I mean, I'm going to say they can't.
I mean it's possible. It's certainly possible. I mean Imperial is not a bad team, and they've been doing all right so far in their matches in recent history, I
I
think.
mean, for them to not
But it's
make the
been
final, right,
most,
they would have to lose the
yeah.
best of 3, or they could lose their best of 1 and then they would still have to lose the best of 3 at the end of the day to get eliminated. But the
But yeah,
only
I
that's
best
think
of
pretty much my
3s that
feeling
that
about Navi at the
Navi have
moment.
lost, like, at all.
was this to say they're not going to get to the final or not going to win it?
They
Sorry.
will be. I think they will be in semi-final, but they will lose semi-final
Yeah, so it's
and
the
will not be in
same
the final.
principle, I think.
Similar
Same
to
as
what
Vitality.
Vitality,
Yeah.
yeah.
For them to lose the semi-final, they would have to lose a best of 3, though, and that just hasn't happened.
I mean, so wait, if both, so who would be win? Well, I guess it's two different opinions. But if both Vitality and NaVi
well,
don't
we don't need
make
to
finals,
combine them,
who
right?
what?
Consider them separately.
Yeah, but
But then
separately,
different.
like, what are we
I
looking at?
personally,
A FaZe G2 final?
That could happen.
no,
Yes.
I personally think Vitality will be in the final. That's how I think
Yeah,
it's a possibility.
yeah.
But
Let's.
then I don't think Navi will be in the finals this time around. It's also the level of the tournament. It
That's
matters. I
true.
think
That's true.
For Navi, I don't think they should. They will be very hardly focusing on this tournament. Instead, they will probably wait for the boot camp
Well, I don't
before
think they've been focusing
Blast and
on
then
any of the
major.
tournaments so far, really, like specifically.
No,
I
I'm pretty
think
sure
that's.
for
I mean,
Like they've been
EPL they did
doing the
focus.
usual. I don't think they've been doing. They haven't like grinded for any of these specific tournaments. I don't think.
I think for EPL they grinded in a boot camp for sure. That was
But that was just because they had time. No, I don't think that was because they
yeah.
wanted to win EPL like so much more than like. I wouldn't put it on the level of what they did for like the major. Anyway,
Yeah.
Squared, what do you think of
Agree.
NaVi? Just to get your thoughts.
I'm very much with you on this, actually, Backpack. Like, yeah, as you said, they're gonna have to lose a BO3, and I don't know, it just hasn't happened for a while now.
Yeah.
And I actually think, as far as rest goes and how tired they are and playing all those tournaments, I don't know. I feel like Blade actually takes a lot of load out of them because we all know about the Blade binder and please turn to page like 15 to the blue strat or something like that. Like,
Yep.
I think Blade actually takes a lot of load out of the team by taking all the strat making, all the counter stratting on him basically. I don't know. I feel like I like the chances. I like the team a lot. And their map pool is pretty strong, one of the strongest, I feel like. And yeah, I think actually, although yeah, the players would be tired, I think their mental is their worst thing they have to surpass to reach the
Yeah.
finals.
And I don't even. I think that their
Nothing
mental
else.
So far, what I've seen is that they can't finish the job, and when it comes close to winning, then they have the
Yeah.
nerves, especially the players, right? But
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
even think like in a semi-final, like they would have to go up against like some they would have to lose to G2 or Vitality in a semi-final.
Yep.
I don't see them losing a best of 3 against like almost anybody apart from those two.
I could see him losing to FaZe.
I don't.
I'm going to speak a bit about that
We'll
later.
we'll let you talk about FaZe. You're the resident
Yeah.
FaZe apologist, I think. Multiple times we'll let you.
Yeah, we
do
can.
that.
I think.
Yeah.
I think
I won't
NaVi is
deny
covered.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
Navi is covered
I'm
too.
just a bit what do you call it? NaVi. I don't support
Skeptical?
Navi,
No,
but I
yeah,
think they've proven enough to me. You know, that's just the way it has to be. But yeah,
Yeah,
I think they'll make it.
if you count as well where they were, where they like had some good results, some bad results. We were all calling, not all, but most people were calling for Ime to get cut. Now he's having this resurgence, and he's actually one of the best players. Like I don't know, it
Also
seemed like
Yeah,
legitimately,
but
like,
then.
it
But then
just
we've seen.
something started clicking, and they've only been upwards since then.
yeah, I mean, holy shit, I looked away from NaVi for like, a few months, and JL is suddenly a star. Like, bro,
Yeah,
what the fuck happened? What fucking Weetabix is he having? Like,
yeah.
man's
Yeah,
was-
had
he's
a
the
he was
closest thing
never-
they have to consistency for sure.
Yeah.
No, in
Like,
that team, yes, he's the
some of
most.
the games which I saw him play in EPL, it's fucking crazy.
Yes.
Dude was clutching up.
Yeah.
Wait, he's got 2 MVPs already, right? So like.
Yeah, I mean, shit's wild.
Yeah. I think we covered
is.
Navi Sift. What's your 90% take?
Okay,
Here we go.
incoming G2 hate.
What else is new?
My 90%, G2 aren't going to get far in playoffs without NiKo or m0NESY getting 1.3, either NiKo or m0NESY getting 1.3 plus rating each match.
Well, yeah.
Match.
I think it's
I'm
reasonable.
still not convinced
That's like
about G2 outside their
120%.
firepower. And whilst Nax has been on an uptick of firepower, I think their system still relies on individuals way too much. I think they have a relatively easy run in their bracket at the moment, but until the upper finals. But I think if they get to finals, they're not gonna get far. I'd even say they could go out, depending on whether they get to quarters or semis, based on the upper bracket. If they go through the upper bracket, unless individuals pop off, let's be clear. I don't see them winning a match.
So basically,
Without one
I'm trying
of
to
their
like.
players going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna ask. Basically,
Without
the
a player
summary
hard
of the
carry.
take is they're not gonna win unless one of those two is at like 1.3 plus.
So
Yeah,
can I?
I would say if they get to quarterfinals, they wouldn't even get to semifinals unless
Yeah, I mean,
one
I
of their
would
players
just take
gets
your take to
1.3
the
plus.
logical extreme. They won't even win a map without that happening.
Okay, can I just add some statistics to
Yeah,
this
go on.
so I can explain one thing? This is like 100% take. This is
Yes, I
not a
think
90% take.
I was almost sure.
Because if I'm looking since player break,
Yeah.
they've attended EWC where NiKo dropped 1.26. Oh, sorry, 1.35. And then
Yep.
m0NESY had his low game at 1.14. Since then, m0NESY's in Blast Premier Fall groups 1.49,
Yeah.
IEM Köln 1.39,
Yep.
ESL Pro League 1.33, Blast Premier Fall Final 1.33 by m0NESY.
I've rigged the take in my favor.
Yes, what I'm trying to say, it is 100% take. Like there is
I'd
no
even
other
say
I'm
way.
just gonna open every
1.4.
single map they've played since ESWC and see if I can find one map they won without that happening. Give me a second.
Because this is sort of to reconfirm my point earlier that because I got kind of wrecked in a previous episode because I said I think it was after EWC or something that their honeymoon was going to be over. And obviously they've continued to have fucking great success. But I will stand by this. It's not because they're a good team. It is because their individuals are so fucking insanely cracked that they can make up for being a bad team.
Yes.
Yes, of
Indeed.
course.
And
I mean, it's obvious. It's like everyone who's watched G2 play, they just know. Individuals in
Okay,
that team.
they
I mean,
got
you obviously
one.
get certain level of gameplay, but the individuals in G2 carry the majority of the load for
oh yeah, like
this team.
logically, I know that m0NESY is one of the best torpers in the world, right? Has been for years. I have never been able to really bring myself to watch a full match of G2 play, even when, you know, the past few years, not just when Snax was IGLing, because I cannot stand to watch that level of CSB played because it is atrocious. Their strategies are practically non-existent. Their utility is missed. Like, even Snax has missed utils. He's the fucking IGL.
I don't know about even. I think I would expect him to miss it, even if he is the IGL. Low-key.
I just that's a crazy part about G2 team because everyone watches this and everyone knows this is a team that should have an era. But the problem with
If
this
they
team,
had a good IGL, I'd agree with you. Yeah,
it's not just IGL.
and coach.
There is a level of nepotism inside of that organization that cannot allow for a proper hiring of an IGL and a coach that can elevate this team to that level.
Okay, I've done
of
I did the
dominance.
math. Okay, since ESWC, when they have Snax, there have been 3 maps that they won with someone who had less than 1.3 rating, or rather, with nobody above 1.3, and it was multiple people having like 1.27, 1.28, 1.29, like. And that's that's basically like edge
insane.
cases of your take. Like this is
Yeah.
this is as close as it can get.
m0NESY is just insane. That kid is next level.
He is trapped
What
in
he
that
can
team.
bring to the table for this.
I want to see him on FaZe so much.
I don't know about FaZe.
I mean,
Like
it's
no,
not
like Karrigan is leveled up every player is done with.
You
Right?
can't. I don't know if you can
Imagine
level up
m0NESY
m0NESY,
leveled
then you
up.
should be giving like some sort of prize. I don't know what they would
Yeah,
give to you.
I don't think actually you can level up this kid anymore. But if it is possible, I mean, Karrigan is one of them, or a system.
That's why I want to see it happen. Like I'm
Yeah.
willing to take the chance, even if like it's technically a downgrade of a team in terms of firepower. Like, bro, imagine like even on the off chance of like a 10% of him getting better, I want to see him hitting like 2.0 in an event.
That's okay. We're talking delusions, but
Yeah, but it's not even. I mean, 1.7 by Donk was done, so.
well, yeah, but that matched the previous record. It's not like he got 1.9. Like,
Yeah, but
I mean, it depends
I
how
mean,
big the event is, as in terms
yes.
of how many matches there are. I don't mean like a Cologne style super long tournament. I mean
but
like,
like ESL New York style tournament where you have like
yeah, I
7
could see
maps
that
played.
happening.
but
if
we
he
got
leveled
best
up
of 5
by
finals
Karrigan.
everywhere you look now. So you need even then it's pretty. The smaller sample
I
size
just-
is what, like 7 maps, 2-0, 2-0, 3-0,
Okay,
maybe.
I like
9
Steve's
maps.
take. I think it's
Well,
out of
this
all
is
takes so far, it's been the most reasonable.
it's the most it's like the sanest thing he's said, I think, in this entire podcast.
I
/
think
stream.
it's the sanest thing I've said in like fucking backpackbrain's podcast's history.
Yes, this is if this gets proven wrong. Imagine this event, they just win every single event, nobody pops off. It's a pure system.
Oh my god! If they win and Snax gets like a 1.2 and he's the highest rated, I'm gonna fucking cry. I'm gonna
Yes,
just
it would crush. Like I'm not even gonna speak the evil that it would put onto this world. But yeah,
It would be truly amazing if it does happen, though.
listen, but I would
But
have to
very
give
fun.
credit if they win the events like that. I would have to literally be like, okay, Snax is the best IGO of all time. Like if that happens, what am I supposed to say? Like I can't levy nonsense.
if they win an event and Snax is the highest rated on it, then that's just like instant GOAT contender
Fuck
for
it,
backpack.
fragging IGL. That's like, what else can you? I can't say anything else. That's you have my word, Snax. You have my word. Okay. But anyway, I think that we can move on and get my 50%. 'Cause I
Yeah.
think this one it's got some legs to it. At least it's got something interesting to talk about. Now, 50% chance, or however you see it, cadiaN will and should.
Wait, have we done all of the 90?
Yeah,
Yes,
we've done all
yes.
the 90.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I thought we missed one.
No, we're going a bit faster, you know. We're keeping things nice
Yeah,
and dense.
yeah.
Also, thanks to people actually saying things that can be, you know, concisely discussed. We don't have anyone saying
Yeah.
something outrageous yet, but I'm sure we will. But anyway, cadiaN will and should AWP more than ZywOo in this event. So, just to
I
give you...
legitimately thought you were about to say the device, and I was gonna smack.
Yeah, I
him.
was.
Well, listen,
like,
I already think he
I'm-
should AWP over device, but that's not even related. That's not even related. It's going to happen. It's going to happen if he's on Astralis. But that's like
it annoys me, but he's kind of right.
yes. But we'll talk,
Bro,
we
he
can talk
has
about that
one
after
bad
I get to
event,
my actual
possibly
point.
due to- okay.
Let's postpone
Yeah.
that discussion, okay? Okay.
Yeah,
my
yeah.
actual point. Give you some context. At this last Blast event, now I know we discussed ZywOo opening before, right? What do you
Yeah.
think? Like, before you check the actual stats, what do you think ZywOo's AWP rate percentage is at the last Blast event, and what do you think cadiaN's was? What do you think the stats are at?
Okay, ZywOo is 28%. I think I remember looking at it recently.
Well, that's
Wasn't
almost
that
correct.
overall, not the event.
Just at the last Blast event, the Blast finals.
It should be
I'd
around
say
28%.
like 40%, and cadiaN was like 60%.
cadiaN?
60% is crazy.
No,
No
it's-
one's even at that.
cadiaN,
Okay.
cadiaN was probably around. Considering they were
No.
playing double OP quite a lot. No,
Yeah, they were.
So it would be a lot. So I think it will be around
Yeah.
40%.
Okay.
I
If
would
it's
think it
higher
would
than
be
ZywOo's,
60%
I
if
think
you
it
give
don't
you
will
the
be
include
numbers.
eco
ZywOo was
rounds.
at 25%, cadiaN was at 26%. So this is already
Fucking hell.
this is already like a
Oh
neck
my
and neck race. It was bad. ZywOo 25% AWP race. Like, I mean,
I told you.
I know.
told
You were vindicated like immediately. This is like, I don't know
To give
how it
context
happened.
to
Yeah, so the context is the previous episode I was saying that the only reason Vitality are never gonna go to finals if ZywOo stops picking up OP.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's been going down from the Cologne victory. Like, it's almost
Fucking
they can't even
hell.
see. It's like the forest for the trees. They're like trying to fix
I
different
said they
parts.
will
be
be
fair-
the number.
to be fair,
they
I
are the number
still
one
think-
team. If he
To be fair, I still think they really need to adjust or at least add a new stat to say AWP buys on buy rounds.
But I just for ZywOo, I trust that he's gonna get kills if he has the AWP. Like, I don't have he has to get some belief from me. I'm not gonna.
It's not about belief. It's about you have to be literally forced down
Yes,
his
exactly.
throat that you are oping. You are an oper.
Yes.
It's your job to do.
Maybe
get out
you
there
maybe
and
you
know
just
what
need
you
to
can-
just drop the AWP. Be like, I'll play with no armor, no gun. Just AWP,
Like-
please.
What I genuinely am curious what Xtas is doing. in
Yes,
that team.
there's some.
Because
They must have like
what-
staff somewhere. Like,
How can you not look at the most basic stats and say to yourself, here, look our results when he's oping, and here is results when he's not oping. And it's not about like feel and everything. No,
Yeah.
you have to have the best gun in your hands because that's the highest possibility
Yeah.
of our team
Like,
winning.
dude, you're being
Yes.
paid ridiculous sums of money. Pick up the fucking AWP.
yes, and to get back to what
he
I'm
needs to
talking
sneak
about.
into his bedroom at the
Right.
middle of the night and put headphones on him with like hypno going,
Yes.
"You are an AWPer. You are
Osmosis,
an AWPer. The air
exactly.
quality is not bad."
But the for
Sorry.
the as far as Astralis's what do you call it position in general, this is kind of unrelated to my take, but the double AWP setups that they ran quite frequently on CT side, I think the problem with those wasn't even cadiaN. cadiaN was actually doing pretty much fine on CT when he had the AWP, but Device when he had, I mean that event was definitely an outlier for him. He said he was unfit, etc. You know the meme, blah blah. But he was definitely not putting up even remotely close to what you might expect from him, right? I think if he can do even like 70-80% of what he normally does on CT AWP, those double AWP setups would look much, much better. Because you have two people who know where they want to position themselves. And even if it's Device
Yeah.
who's like not playing what he might want like the best, he's getting the second best because the IGO is doing something and has a different plan to him, right? I think it would still look very well. Now, at EPL, ZywOo was on at 31% and now he's gone down 25% of Blast. I don't think it would keep going down. And at the event they won, he was
I don't think you can go
Yes.
much lower. To
he
be
would
honest,
he would have to just start
Like,
not buying it to do that. But at the event that they won, he was at 38%.
world's first
so,
AWPer who doesn't buy a fucking AWP.
Yeah. I just think that him just
Mate, It's so illogical.
I know, but I just think that
It is.
while ZywOo's AWP rate should go up, if they don't, then God help them. But
Actually, quick point.
yes, go on.
Quick point. I think because we discussed in the pre-show that like the latest update really does make AWPing feel a lot.
Are they
nicer.
playing? I assume they are.
Exactly, yeah. Are they playing on their new update though? Or
I think they do play on the new
Because
update.
ESL Challenger
event-
right now is not
it's
being played on the latest update.
Yeah, but it's because the ESL Challenger started before the update came
Yes.
out, if I remember correctly. Any event with IEM with the ESL which starts after an update, they use the latest update.
Yeah, I think most people probably
and if
wanted
there's a
to
major
anyway,
patch, so I imagine, like maybe this is copium, but I think that this should have a positive effect on AWPers. Hopefully, Device and cadiaN and ZywOo. And Monacy, obviously, but Monacy hasn't.
But
really
I think both of their
added.
rates are gonna go up, and I think it's a 50-50 that cadiaN matches it or exceeds it, because I just think it makes sense for Astralis to actually have cadiaN AWP more. Because otherwise, if the alternative is that you have essentially Hooksy or worse on a CT side, right? Because I don't see cadiaN doing anything else. If he doesn't have it AWP, he's just gonna be a bot. I mean,
I watched the games. He was doing pretty well.
I think positionally, yes, but I think if
with
you would have
with the rifle.
exponent, you just have so much more impact if they double AWP. And clearly, like, it's gonna be a heavy investment. And if they go wrong, it's like, hard to come back. But it's already so hard to come back.
Believe me, no one wants the double AWP meta to come back as much as I do. Like, that was a great period of time.
I don't know,
but
it's only used, by the way.
Yeah, but I just don't think that the economy is there really.
Well, if cadiaN can get
one of
that
those things
percentage
where you
in
pull
one
it out on
game, I
specific
think they can
maps.
keep doing it.
I think it makes, you know what? It would make sense if they also overhaul their map pool then. Because if in
I mean,
that
their
case
map
it would
pool
make
before
more sense.
cadiaN was basically non-existent.
Yeah,
they were
I
trying
think
everything.
they're gonna
I'm
have
very
to build it
interested
up from
to
the
see
ground.
what their map pool is going to be like now.
Because double AWP works in certain maps.
Yeah, it works
well.
on Dust. It works on
Dust,
Nuke
Anubis.
sometimes.
You can make it work.
Nuke is very. I feel like
Nuke-
Nuke is very specific. Ancient, you can run double AWP on Ancient, but it's not really that great.
It's not recommended because,
but
if you have the
they'll do
AWP on
it.
A and the AWP on mid, then you're really fucked for retakes. And then if you've got AWP on mid and B,
when I watched them play, they just didn't like do the retake. They just saved the double AWP.
I think Dust Anubis is straight up. You can do that. I mean, you can do even Mirage if you want to. Like, Mirage is a possibility
you
for double
can
AWP.
do it with a B hold on AWP and mid/A, but it's
still
definitely a riskier thing.
Well, if any team is going to reinvent
like,
double AWPing, it's going to be this team because they're just built for it.
But I would say the economy really isn't there, because as soon as teams realize that you're doing the double AWP, they'll just rush a site, and you can only fire so fast with the AWP.
I would like to see it be countered first.
But it's more aggressive setups that you can make with double
I think
AWP. Early round setups from CD side with double AWP is a very, very dangerous thing. That way you can accumulate easily money.
I have some level of belief.
Get a bit more money per round on losses
in the creativity
before seeing something like that, but
in general, like I agree with Kenny, by the way. Sorry, but it's only a handful of maps that you can really pull it off. Some maps, like for Ancient, for example, I feel like you end up retaking a lot of the time. You might end up retaking B or retaking A. And I don't think that's very viable with a double AWP. So it's only a handful of maps that you're gonna be able to run it. It's the economy issues that not always gonna be able to afford it. So you have to have a backup plan with cadiaN on a rifle. Now, I don't know. Honestly,
you need looking pretty decent on the rifle. We've got a very small sample size.
It's fine. If Astralis starts banning Inferno as a first ban, I'm not entirely sure what the current one is, but I don't think they've got
it figured out yet,
because they were trying everything.
Which is the right way to do it, probably, for now.
I just want to see the last matches too.
But what do you, okay, so back to the original take. What do you think? cadiaN, 50% chance of cadiaN AWPing more than ZywOo this event. Who takes it?
I can see it being 50%. I'll
Yeah,
say that.
I agree.
Yeah, same. I agree.
I mean,
It depends
I've
on.
constructed the most
Depends a
elaborate,
lot of ZywOo, to be honest. Yeah.
the most elaborate, like Rubes Goldberg machine or whatever you call it, for finding
Yeah.
a reasonable take. All the moving parts.
Yeah.
So here's a thing that I'd like to say about cadiaN. Actually, I'll save it.
Have you got
I'm just
something
about
related?
to. Related to Astralis, yeah. I
Okay.
think. Sorry, I don't want to.
No. If no one else has got anything on it, then we should get it done now, right?
I think Astralis is going to make playoffs. IEM Rio.
I'm low key agreeing with you.
50% chance. Like, their first outing obviously was a tragedy. It was really poor. Versus
Vitality,
Vitality.
and then.
Yeah, and then
Spirit.
but then Spirit, like it reminded me of the old Astralis with Glaive, right? Because there were a few events with the old Astralis with Glaive, not in terms of the skill, to be clear. I'm going into it is, where you near the end of the Prime Astralis, when things were looking more shaky, you would see events where they would look really poor in like the first match, and then like either the day later or 2 days later at the next match, Glaive had clearly gone back into the lab, and like it wasn't just the strategies, but the whole team looked a lot tighter. Even only like one match after. Now this might be cope, but they definitely seemed a lot. To be clear, Spirit was fucking weak in that game, and it was still a 2v1. Like, I don't know what is going on with Spirit. I know there's the rumors about people leaving, but like, if they weren't so weak, even me as somebody who likes watching Device and stuff like that, they would have lost. They would have lost soundly. But it was
Agreed.
definitely an improvement over the Vitality game in terms of just looking at
Yes,
Astralis'
I
side
did.
of things.
There was some. It was, although like everything was obviously like not in place yet. You could see like some like unrefined potential there. I think.
Yeah.
In some rounds,
So-
there was like something, and then the rest was like they have no idea what they're doing. But like there was.
Here's another thing. cadiaN's. So I'm looking at cadiaN's stats. Obviously, very small sample size, 5
Yes.
maps. On Astralis, his entrying is 75 on HLTV.
75 what?
Um,
What do you mean?
75 out of 100 on their like.
Ah.
If you look at the stats, the new stats thing.
I see.
And his opening is 85 out of 100, which is how likely players is to make a difference with an early round opening frag. Like him being a sort of entry IGL and having those sorts of stats and also good utility, but that's sort of expected, is really promising, I think. And I do think that now that Astralis have a structure to work around with cadiaN, as I said, and you said as well earlier, that like there was definitely signs of improvement already.
Yes.
I hope the thing that makes me hopeful is it was more improvements in the structure and in how
rounds,
they played,
yes.
rather than individuals popping off. I mean, Device was having a terrible game. I don't want to speculate, but I imagine something was off. Maybe it was to do with
Well, he
he
said
has
he was
that
ill,
illness.
right? So
Yeah, he has his
it's not
chronic illness.
speculation. He said he was just normally
Yeah,
ill. So
I have
who
a
knows?
similar illness to that.
Yeah, so you're
Slightly
basically
worse,
Device,
but
yeah.
yeah, no, mine's a little bit worse. He's got, I believe, Crohn's, and I've got ulcerative colitis. I can tell you from personal experience, when you have a flare up, you're exhausted. It really sucks. So him having the numbers that he had, like I can't fault him for that.
Yeah.
Like if he was having a flare up or something like that, it's impressive
Well, who knows
that he
how
was,
much better we'll get after flying to Brazil, but
Yeah,
we
but
hope
I
for
think
his best.
at the end of the day, Astralis, they're like 3 or 4 months away from actually
Yes, they're not going to be
being
at
a
full
decent
form
team.
even here, but
No,
Oh,
even
definitely
at the
not.
major.
But I
No.
think we're gonna see them getting. Well, I don't know. Major, we could see some. They're not going to be at
Well,
peak form, but I think
no,
we could
but
see
they
them
could.
being like a top 8
Yeah.
team.
They could take
rather
scopes.
than top
They will
20 at the
Yes.
They could take scopes at the major for
And
sure.
also, not
I think the
most teams
biggest-
here aren't in top form, like 100% form anyway.
No,
so
no.
like
Yeah.
everybody.
I mean,
is
I've,
at the end
I've
of the day,
been.
yeah.
I think the current scene in CS, I think I said it in previous episodes, is like some of the weakest we've seen it in a long while.
I'm
like
not sure I
not as
actually
bad as
agree,
the
but
final year of CS:GO, but it's definitely teams are not used to the full extent of CS2 yet. They're not utilizing it to its fullest extent, like the smokes and stuff. We're starting to see
I would say I would say,
strategies.
if I have to put a phrase to it, I would say it's not. I wouldn't. This is just me personally. I would say it's not that the teams are weak overall. It's just that teams that find moments of strength in CS2 have trouble maintaining that strength.
Maintaining it.
Yes, because we saw
I think
we see Vitality
with
play
Papa.
really well, and then we also see them play terribly. We see Spirit, but Spirit's kind of a separate case
Yeah.
to this discussion.
Yeah.
And Navi is kind of going against that grain, kind of always playing really well, but then not always having that final like click. So I wouldn't say
Yeah,
the
but then
level
with
is
Navi-
really. I would say it's hard to find. It's easy to get to a low level for these teams sometimes.
Okay,
I
we're
don't
going
mean
a
just
bit
Yes.
away
that, but I mean in terms
Yes,
of the
yes.
strategies
Astralis.
used. Oh, sorry.
No,
Yeah, we're going a bit
it
away
was just,
again
it was just a
from
relevant,
Astralis.
it was just a tangent, yes, of course.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
people generally you see the vision of cadiaN AWPing, even if you
Yeah.
don't, even if you don't
I
agree
don't
with the
know if it's
conclusion, which is that
him-
he will AWP instead of device. But
He's not going to AWP instead of device. That would be
trust
insane.
me,
But
it's the eventuality.
what do you mean by instead of device? Like device
I mean,
just rifles?
eventually, maybe it's over the break, maybe it's over next season instead of this season. Eventually, they're gonna have a device in cadiaN. They're gonna walk into a bar. They're gonna have the talk. Brother, let me up. I'm at the IG. That's where I do my
this
best
isn't-
work. And then device are gonna be like,
Bro.
you know what? Whatever. Fuck it. I'm gonna retire in a year. And then,
I don't
No.
see that happening.
think it'll
like,
happen.
Device hasn't like not been an AWPer in like almost a decade by this point.
Well, there's always time for something new. But anyway, we'll talk
yeah,
about that when we come to.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference between using the rifle and being a rifler, is what I'm
Well,
saying.
so he's
like,
a secondary rifler. We've invented secondary rifling. But I agree with you. I know it's true.
fucking hell.
Let's just say device.
Secondary rifling backpack.
Safe.
It's the same thing that you would say about secondary Oppa. He knows how to use it, but can he do it full time? We've like reversed the entire dynamic.
Safe.
We know he
Histor-
can
Safe,
do
let
it,
me-
but
Well,
let
then
me
if we know
go
he can do it, he can do
historically.
it. But like, let's
Yeah.
we'll cross that
Historically,
bridge.
device had periods of time when he refused to pick up an op.
If anyone's
not-
gonna do
Yeah,
it, it's
but
gonna
this
be
is like
him,
an
and this is
event
the
or
best
two.
circumstance
This is like
to
an
do it.
event or two, not like an assigned, position.
Okay,
Yeah,
if
but
there's one event, if Astralis have
possible.
one event where cadiaN AWPs and device rifles, they will never go back.
That is fucking nonsense.
And that's not even I'm not even putting that in my takes. I'm saying that 100% they will never go back if that happens.
No.
But anyway,
That's insane.
Squared.
that is
Take us
insane.
out of this vicious
No,
circle.
no,
What's your
Astralis, so-
cadiaN's sniping was 47 out of 100 on Astralis so far.
That was 5 maps. You just said it was 5 maps.
Okay, let me just get up devices thing.
Yeah, well,
first
are you gonna
real
use the
quick.
same 5 maps? Because it
Yeah.
wasn't very good.
Yeah, it wasn't. That's true.
No. Let me just get
Yeah,
this up.
compare this last event,
year
these 5
final.
maps. Tell me how good device was.
85 out of 100 sniping.
Yes, but like, was it good? The games, were they good?
We're talking about fucking sniping here, my brother.
Yeah, but for the team, I'm not saying device is better.
Sniping
I'm not saying
per
device is
round,
worse than
cadiaN got
cadiaN on AWP.
0.16 and device
cadiaN
got
is worse than device on an
0.26.
AWP, and yet it will happen.
That's
think-
a wild take, but I will accept it slightly more in you admitting that
I'm not
he
saying
is worse
cadiaN's
than
better.
device.
I'm just saying it makes more sense.
Yeah.
Put it
Yeah, I
that way.
agree
Okay.
with
What the
Backpack.
fuck?
I understand.
This
I
is
understand
this
where
is like
backpack is
going,
coming from.
Snacks should fucking snipe because he's better on AWP than with rifle.
Well, no,
so
if,
just
okay,
make
if Snacks was
monitoring
No,
AWP,
it's
if
not,
Snacks was
it's
AWP
not.
IGLing,
No,
then
I understand. It's also Seth, it's also about calling.
Yeah, exactly.
cadiaN historically has not been not he's been both op and
And
a caller. For him, it's easier that way to navigate the rest of the team. And if
Yeah,
it's
but
possible,
the way that he's changed it now is that he's entering, right? So
Okay,
think about it
I'll
this
give you a
way. If
compromise
he's
handshake.
entering,
KD and CT side AWP, device T side AWP. How's that sound?
that's I don't know, because like T-side Inferno stuff like that, that's basically impossible to
Well,
order.
they can
they
just
have to
rifle
ban
it. That's
Inferno.
fine. Yeah,
They have to ban Inferno.
we're
cannot play with
basically
this team
we're
on
constructing
Inferno.
Astralis for them right now.
I think it's way too early to say anything like
Okay,
that about
okay.
Astralis, but I
yeah,
am
but-
50% sure that they will make playoffs this event.
That's the we've just
Square.
bonus take
I
there.
want to hear. I want to hear one thing from Square. Square, tell me, what is your opinion about this personally, about cadiaN and devices op percentages between them?
Honestly, like I agree with you a lot, Kenny, on this. I think cadiaN is way more used to calling around himself, oping and idealing altogether. I think honestly, I think the compromise of device oping like city side. I think you said the backpack. I think it might be the best actually. But in general, I feel like there's a lot of potential in this team. Yeah, I think they should have won that Spirit game as well. Like, honestly, the T rounds on Astralis T side were really sick actually. Like I saw I saw
Yes,
some
there
glimpses
was
of cadiaN
exactly. There was like
back
moments
into
of
heroic days. Like it was insane how much. But like you compare, oh my god! Like you compare a cadiaN T side on MOUZ and you compare a Snacks T side on MOUZ. It's just night and day. That's different
Yeah, well,
thing
that's
going
a
on the
bit
map.
unfair. That's
even
like
a device
comparing
T
a
side, even a
Premier
device T
player
side,
to
you can
like
still see the differences immediately.
Yeah, it's insane. I saw a big, huge difference in their T sides, even if they lost, and I don't think they should have won because they should have lost because it's like they basically threw their last 4 rounds. I think I was looking at it before.
yes, they
Yeah,
did
4
have a
rounds.
big advantage, and
Yeah.
Spirit were capitulating, but
No, I think
I don't know.
they have a chance here. I agree with you, Shift. They have a good chance for playoffs, in my opinion, depending on how they play, of course.
I mean,
Yeah.
even with the 50%, I could say might even make semifinals as a
Yeah.
50%.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, fuck it. I'm
But
gonna lock it in. 50%.
Is
They
that
make
your
it to
take?
semifinals. Yeah.
for longevity purposes, though, and for what happens to who gets to use the app, I'll just take the middle road. We just don't have enough stats yet.
Yeah.
We haven't seen them enough. We have to see, but in general, like I don't wanna I don't know how to break it to you, Shift, but it's like it's the truth. Like device might be himself, his mental. He's done all that he needs to. Like
It is
you
also
don't
probably
know.
going to be
It
less
may-
stress.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. It
I
it
think-
may be time for him. cadiaN hasn't done that stuff. It may be time to retire soon. I guess it depends on him, of course, but it might be.
I mean,
if the team
retire,
works better.
They're
if
both the
team
same
works
age.
better without him,
Yeah, but
maybe a
device is
backstab.
mentally closer to retiring than cadiaN is.
Maybe a small backstab takes place.
Where are you
This
getting
team
this
has
from?
experience.
Where are you
Uh-huh.
getting the idea
Pseudo
that he's
psychoanalysis.
more meant?
Yeah.
Just like bring out the star
Okay, but
shots
most people, I
soon,
feel like
like-
most people will agree with me. No, device is mentally closer to retiring than cadiaN is because cadiaN hasn't won 4 majors.
Yeah.
Like
I agree.
that's just
I agree.
it. Like what else do I need to say? That's just like true.
Okay.
Is it not?
Let's move on.
Let's
to,
okay.
Yeah.
Squared. What is your
Yeah, we
50%?
really
Take
should.
us. We've been
Square,
sucked into
go on.
Astralis rabbit hole.
Take away from this because it's going crazy.
Yeah, it's
in
going
circles.
crazy.
Yeah.
It pains me to say, but I don't know if you know. Well, if anybody else listening to this will not know, I am a big MOUZ fan. Actually, I like the
It's
team.
a
I
rough
like the
time
org.
for you.
Yeah, it is a rough time for me, and my take is basically, it doesn't make it any better for me. Actually, I think that if MOUZ fail to make quarterfinals or even semifinals again, I think they're gonna have to make they're gonna have to either one of the players in the team
Where's
will
the
push for a
50% come into
change.
this though?
They 50% if they fail to make playoffs again, they will need to make a roster change, or the whole team will implode.
Well, I mean, before
Um,
the major, the whole team won't implode, but
honestly, not before the
can't
major,
make-
but
yeah,
after it,
I'm-
definitely. And I base this in, well, a lot of things actually. I don't want to get into the whole, body language expert
well, you can
or
get into
something
it.
like
I
that.
mean, listen.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
You
I
can
just
do
hate
what-
doing that because we don't actually know all of these players.
Do what
But,
you want. We've had previous guests literally look at star signs for players.
Yes. Shout out Hesu team
Uh,
one time.
That is yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, it's all the rumors about Yimfat actually. A lot of teams looking into him. Vitality maybe for MOUZ. And something about teams looking into exertion.
Yimfat I have
Liquid.
heard about. Yimfat one I've heard about
Yeah,
NaVi.
Yimfat, I've heard the rumors about looking into exertion for other teams that may
Yeah.
need aggro entries, riflers.
I just saw a video saying Yimpat is the best player.
Yeah, yeah.
He
But anyway,
Yimfat is basically the guy in that team in my head.
I've
Besides
seen a lot
ZywOo.
of I've
Yeah.
seen based on those rumors and especially in the way they played in EPL and the mood in the team, like they were talking a lot to each other, shouting at each other at some points. Brolan was just nowhere on that event. They're
Square.
either gonna push to replace Brolan, or the whole team will be talking apart. I think if they fail here.
Can I
That's a
can I
pick.
just agree with Square on this one because my 50% is also about MOUZ.
All
And
right, yeah.
yeah, it's kind of aligned in a way because I think MOUZ will bomb out of Rio. Like they will be last. It's 13 to 16 basically. Yeah, 13 to
Last.
16. That bottom. I think they will lose their BO1. I think they will lose in the BO3 in the lower bracket, and they will be out of that tournament.
You know what? 50%
I mean,
for that.
if they lose the best of one to Pain, that's probably a best of 3 versus Furia, or worst case FaZe.
I honestly think Fury are gonna beat FaZe, and then it's gonna be FaZe MOUZ. Actually, you know what? I'm on
Yeah,
I'm on
I have
board.
a feeling it's going to be FaZe.
I'm on board.
Yeah, FaZe MOUZ is what I see. I think Pain can pull off one game of brilliance to put them in a lower bracket. Even so, historically, MOUZ never had like issues in a group stages.
Well, I think we're past the
This
MOUZ not
is-
having group stage issues now. No, like it's been multiple
Yeah.
times now
Yeah,
that
but-
they've
but
lost.
in a-
So like,
But in a recent history, they've had issue. The biggest problem is the inconsistency from map to map of Zertion.
no,
in the last
Zerson was
3
fine.
months,
No, or am I missing?
man, he's got very good rating. But if you look
Let me
map
check.
by
Yeah, I'm
map,
gonna check manually.
it's chaos. Like one map, he's
you're
like
right.
1.5. 1.5, he's absolutely dominating the game, constantly aggressive into the face of opposition. Next game, he's dying non-stop.
Yes,
And
I'm seeing
it's
it
a
now.
massive
it's pretty,
problem.
It's a great problem. Yes.
Yes, Zertion is an issue, but he's
good
also the
issue.
solution. Yeah, he's both solution and a problem for a MOUZ team currently. His inconsistency is where I think one of the biggest weaknesses of current MOUZ team is, and that's why I can see him not providing like a good game against Pain, therefore bombing out in a lower bracket, and then Fury. I'm high a bit on Furia from perspective of I think they are actually a good team, and I'm very low on FaZe.
Yes,
and
exactly.
that
Yes, I'm the
EPL resurgence, recent EPL resurgence,
the blast,
sorry,
right?
recent blast resurgence. Yeah, I think it's a Fox. I don't
Same.
think
They
they're
had a great game against Liquid, but
good.
that was Liquid's first time. like-
exactly. I think their inconsistency of their star players is not helping them. And this IEM Rio will prove it straight up that what happened in Blast is just an accident. And biggest problem for me will always be the Frozen. I think he's very good. He disappears in the big games.
Yeah.
He needs he doesn't
He
have
is
that.
kind of a farmer.
He farms lower guys, but as soon as it's a top 10 team, he's much less. No, he has much less impact in those games.
Uh,
But
yeah, safe.
coming back to what initially I was saying, why I think I agree with Square that there is a problem with the MOUZ is Zershion's inconsistency. Brolin just after contract he got, he's been just going downhill from perspective of his personal gameplay. Like he shouldn't be, because when he was on a loan, he was really really good. The moment he got the contract, dude went back to being NIP Brolin or
Okay, I'm gonna
sorry,
I'm,
sorry,
Yeah.
NIP
I'm gonna I'm gonna take a minute
Brolin.
bear back, but I'm gonna leave you with this question to discuss in my wake. What do you think? How much do you place some of this on Shui? Because we've all been kind of bigging up Shui over the past like months and year, right? And I think I wouldn't be so quick as to be like, okay, now you're done. But like, how much of what do you place onto it? Have you noticed any sort of differences in calling? Like, what's that discussion play out as?
Sif,
I
do you
mean,
want to take it? You were silent.
Yeah.
personally, I'm sorry to say this to like wreck your dreams, but I have been not confident in MOUZ basically from the start of this year. I think
Okay.
that they got honestly before then, really. I think that they got a lot of good results in like very low pressure events, but they've never really been able to break through that wall. I can't remember what event it was in first season, but like they finally got a result in like one of the like higher pressure events, and people were saying, oh, they're gonna make the major, they're gonna do this. And now obviously the major was fraught with a lot of controversy in terms
Yeah.
of the stage storming, but I think even if the stage, I mean, it's all speculation. Even if the stage storming hadn't happened, they possibly wouldn't have won. But I think that I will say they were on an uptick at that point, and maybe if the stage storming hadn't happened, they could have gotten over their confidence issues. But reality is reality; they didn't.
Yeah.
And I think that there's been a lot of people who like I personally I want MOUZ to succeed. I like the idea of a young team like that being able to
It
succeed.
is a great story, yeah.
But
It is.
the reality of the situation is that they get one or two good events and people keep going, oh, they're back, they're gonna, they've got through the wall. But I've just never been confident in their consistency.
Yeah, I would agree. Even if as their fan and currently my favorite team, yeah, I would agree. I wouldn't really, to answer backpack, I wouldn't really place it on Shui. I don't know. I feel like even what he's done until now with his team, that honestly, none of these players, I think, maybe Exertion, but none of the and Yimfat now. But I mean, I don't rate Torzi. I still don't rate Torzi. He was looking lost and completely nowhere with Dexter before, and I've seen him with some like shots that a tier one upper just shouldn't miss. It's the same issue I have with Brocky sometimes. I don't rate him at all. I rated Brolan, but at the same time, he's been called to fill frozen shoes, which is a big job. Let's be honest. And yeah, I don't know. I think I wouldn't blame Shui for much for this. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's always the leader's fault when your team has these mentality issues and they're shouting at each other and stuff like that. As a leader, you should be able to be more more upfront with them and lead them and calm them down, lead them to victory because he has done that. Like, what was the? I don't remember the score on Overpass that they turned around. At the major, I think was it. I don't remember. But they've been a team that can come back and doesn't struggle mentally. Um, but yeah, their youth actually hurts them here because it's. I think they really thought they had a chance for a lot of those events, but as soon as the stage group comes, the stage game comes,
Yeah.
they crumble.
Okay.
I think
Can I?
it's a.
Sorry.
Oh,
go
sorry.
first.
I
No, you
think
can go
it's
first.
similar issue to Spirit in terms of them being such a young team, but it's almost in a different way for Spirit in that they had such good success and now they're expecting the wins because they're used to that somewhat
Yeah,
from the first season. And they
I can
don't
agree
have
with
that
that.
experience as a team that like sometimes games will not go your way. Like FaZe, I think some of the reason that they're so good at the comebacks and so good at like that sort of like they can have a bad first game and then still do decent in the event is because they have that experience. They've lost, more games than some of the Spirit players have won, have played rather.
Yeah,
Um, and with that comes experience that like you have that state of mind where it's like it becomes just another game. You don't get that sort of pressure of like, okay, we've had a bad game, time to reset. I'm not saying FaZe don't crumble too, but it happens a lot fucking more rarely.
yeah,
It's more likely that the individuals crumble than their mental.
Yes.
Um,
yeah.
and with the young teams like Spirit and MOUZ, like I personally think that, sorry, a bit of side tangent, but like I think MOUZ or Spirit could become really good teams if you gave them a year or two more to get experience. But
And I would say get rid of Brolan,
that
but
that's a chicken and egg scenario of well, more specifically Spirit really. But
yes.
that's a chicken and egg
Yes.
scenario of you need to give them that time, but they don't have that time because they want to win events.
And you don't know how
So
long Donk's form will last. I mean, in theory, it lasts a while,
I
but like
I
you can't guarantee it. You want to win now because it's good now. It's like difficult.
yeah, which is why I think as a side tangent, like bringing in someone like Perfecto for Zontex, because
Yeah,
Zontex
yeah,
is the
yeah.
one who's rumored
But
to
I mean,
go,
we discussed this last
would
time. Let's not rehash because they're
yeah,
not
I
here at
think
this
that would
event,
be
so we'll talk about Spirit when we get to Spirit. But
Yeah.
just to round off
yeah.
the
But
Sorry,
just to
can
round
I
off the
can I
mouse
say
discuss. Yeah, go
just
on.
some?
You go first, and then I'll
Yeah.
finish.
Last some like honestly, I think MOUZ will let this core run through until until China Major.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
if I had to make immediate changes to this MOUZ team, it wouldn't be Jimfat, it wouldn't be Zershan, it wouldn't be Sihu. Like
Yeah.
it's probably Brolan or Torsi. Like one or two
Yeah, and I don't think
has
it's
to go,
Tozi,
and then you bring.
because I think Sui and Tozi have this sort of like
It's
strange
Yeah.
connection.
I'm happy for them, but realistically,
I'm happy
Torsi's
for them. It's like watching your friend get
yeah.
married to someone that you know is bad for them. It's like,
Yeah, I'm happy for Torsin too, but realistically, Torsi has been falling off also.
yeah,
Like it's not
Yeah.
there is a problem in this team, and no changes needs to be made to make up the solution. Because you cannot touch Zerjan and Jimfat and Sihu. That's the core you need to have if you want to
yeah. But in my opinion,
continue
I think those are the guys who are
developing
gonna
this
leave,
team.
because so what I said this like ages ago, and I've gotten so many takes wrong. I think I'll be happy to have this one go right. That I said
Yeah.
that before this season even began, I said MOUZ would get picked apart and fail to win a big event trophy, and I think assuming that
What is crazy to me,
Yeah.
this core, yeah, I'm looking at it, and all I can think of, if I get broken frozen instead of Torsi and Brolin, you're good to go.
I wouldn't get Brokian. That's a side grade for me. But
It's either
Yeah.
if you could just get
how
anyone
can you?
good, better.
I cannot see Broke on the same level as Torsi. Torsi is below him.
I wouldn't even Broki is not better than Toshi right now.
He is better.
Right
Yeah.
now,
whoa,
right now,
that is fucking
has Broki done anything recently?
yes.
Like
Fucking Blast event, he was popping
that, yes.
not
that was his first time in ages that he
Brocky.
did something, no?
Brocky
Not
is the
really.
only reason for me that this FaZe team is still relevant besides Frozen.
Like
Like,
he
Brokey
did play very
legitimately-
well at Blood 4 final, but that was his best event in like ages, in my opinion. Like,
I
Okay,
will
I'm-
tell
I'm
you,
gonna
as a hater
Not-
for actually both of them, I would rate Torzi. I would rate them about the same, maybe a bit higher for Torzi, honestly. Because the worst thing about Brocky is that, yeah, he pops off one tournament, he falls off one tournament.
his
Like,
last negative
Can I have a
event.
consistent
but he's an
form
OPA. If he has a
for
negative
once?
event, that's terrible.
His last
Yeah,
negative
exactly.
event was CS Asia Championship 2023.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're oping, I mean, we're gonna have. I'm gonna judge you a little bit harsher for rating, especially. So like, and kills.
But
Exactly.
like, he's literally had 4 negative events in over 2 years.
I mean, that's fine, but I'm. That's just not what I mean, though.
Almost 3 years, actually.
Oh,
No,
take
I
into
can understand.
consideration.
I can
take into-
understand what people saying that Brocky is inconsistent.
They're very
But
similar in my
but
view.
he is your guy who
He's your clutch.
roof. He's your clutch, and he's the one who puts the ceiling above. Basically, I don't know how to. In
Raises
English,
the
there's a
ceiling.
word.
He's also a lot more
Raise the
consistent on
ceiling.
rifle.
Yes, that too also.
Yeah, but anyway, just to round up this MOUZ discussion, I mean,
Yep.
no, if I'm right about MOUZ collapsing, like I said a while ago, I'd be very happy. But in my opinion, that core that you said that is the best part of MOUZ is also the part that I see most likely to break up, because, I mean, the more struggles that happen internally, the more that rosters start to be shaken up. Like, for example, if G2 know that NiKo is leaving, G2 would also, it would be wise of them if they want to do something good for once. Like, they got MALP, that was a good move. It was expensive, but it's a great move, right? Of course. So if they want to keep that,
Was it expensive?
it was expensive. No, it was like 550,000. No, something like this. Not making.
I thought
have
it
no
was-
idea.
I
But
thought
if it's
it was
that,
because
yeah.
he was like a young player, like he was pretty cheap.
I don't
thought.
think MOUZ was cheap. Hold on, let me. Someone else can check this while I'm talking. But as I think, like if they know NiKo is leaving, they might try and do some sort of restructure
Right.
or buy some players from MOUZ, etc. Right? I think if that they can figure out what they want to do with their roster coming into next year. And a lot of people are going to be eyeing, especially Shui, because IGOs are in short supply. So I just think
I think Jimfat also.
yes, Jimmy,
Jimfat.
because he's one of the
yeah.
best, easiest roles to slot into a team as well. So it's really just like people are going to be picking apart this team from everywhere. The only thing that was keeping them in MOUZ was the fact that they all believed in each other and believed in that they could make this thing work. And as soon as their belief disappears, people start having their own individual doubts. And it's hard to get that kind of stuff to go away unless you win. And if they're not going to win, which I don't think they will, so because I agree with your takes in Rio specifically, and I would extend it even further, in my opinion. I just think that this is it's kind of, we're gonna see them kind of slowly, quietly disappear, and it will be like a what could have been discussion. But that's just how I feel.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think that was
Also, as the last
Yeah,
point,
okay, finish
and
off.
we can move on after. MOUZ as an organization in general is something we haven't talked about. I think historically they have been open to leaving rosters or leaving their best players to go somewhere else if the
Yes.
price is right. They're one of those min-max orgs, I guess you could call them, and historically have been okay with that as long as the price is right. So I think if someone comes with an offer for any of these players, which is good money for them, and they historically also have been okay with using academy players to replace players in the main team, and the academy team is also breaking apart, if I remember correctly. Like
yeah, they
players
just
leaving and stuff.
restructured, no, or something like this.
Yeah. So also a good point in my opinion is that MOUZ will be ready to let them go if the price is right.
Okay.
I think it was Kenny. You were next, right? Because we ended with
No,
Sith.
I think
you already covered
I kind of jumped in.
enough, right?
Yeah, I jumped
Yeah,
in
okay.
into.
And well, Sif, you
No,
also
Squares.
kind of jumped in with your own 50% on Astralis. Do you have a final 50%, or should we move on? Hold on.
What? My point was,
Yeah, but because we went a bit out of order, I'm just asking if that's good for your 50%. We can move on to 10%.
oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, so
We don't need to follow a format as long as we
yeah.
get
I was just
all our
making sure I
points.
didn't like skip over you, and you were like, "Wait, I have my another point."
No.
Okay, all
Sorry.
good. So my 10% take. I think at least half of the teams in the playoffs won't be European. At least half. So first of all, it's important to look at the groups and the makeup of it, right? Number of EU teams in each group. So Group A is 5 and Group B is 2. So you have to kind of adjust the expectations there, right? So Group B, you've got NiKo and Mongols. Now either one has a fairly small chance, but these aren't unwinnable games. I wouldn't look to Group B to be like my guarantee, but Group A, although there are quite a few like better teams that could potentially make it harder, I would say the only real fully unbeatable team for me for these like underdogs not from EU is NaVi. But I would say the other teams do stand fairly good chance of winning their games, and also just by sheer numbers that depending on who plays who, you can find even just from Group A 2 teams that are not European could make playoffs, right? So if you actually look at the teams individually, you got Imperial, Liquid, Complexity, Furia, and Pain. I'm pretty high on Furia, especially for this event. I think they've actually been low-key getting a good base and improving in form. I wouldn't say that they're like a great team, but they're a good team, better than they've ever been, honestly, for unless you go all the way back to their best form. But definitely the best that they've been in a while. While I don't think Complexity are going to do much, I think Liquid stand a good chance. I think between Imperial and Pain, one of them could have uptick in form to squeeze into playoffs, like we've seen 9Z do in Dallas. We can see one of them maybe do the same thing, right? And if you look at the other group, it's a lot harder to sell 9Z or Mongols making it to playoffs. Mongols may scrape a lower bracket run depending on who they face. I don't have that much faith in 9Z at the moment, but I think that we could see 3 out of the 6 teams and maybe even more. It's a low chance, but I can see that being made up of like a Furia, Liquid, Mongols, or like Furia, Liquid, 9Z, or whatever. Some makeup like this. What do you think?
The 10%, huh? So
I
at
mean,
least six
yeah.
6 European teams, you said, I think.
Well, there are 6 teams in the playoffs, right? And I think at least 3 of them won't be European.
Okay.
It's possible. 10% sounds right. Obviously, because all the top teams mostly are European, with an exception of Team Liquid. And even then.
For 10%, I would say yes. I have a similar take for my 10%, which I guess I can incorporate
Yeah,
here.
we can combine. Bring it up.
We can combine them? Yeah, okay. So my 10% would be that the Brazilian team would actually go to playoffs. I think it might be between Pain and possibly...
Well, I would actually place
Pain
it
and possibly
higher,
Imperial.
to be honest.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Because there's 3 of them in one group.
Yeah, there is 3 of them in one group. Honestly, yeah, that's the weird part. But yeah, I guess my 10% would be that Pain, Fury, or Imperial, mainly focusing on Pain and Imperial though, would reach playoffs. I think it's highly possible. Yeah, for a 10% at least. I've been very impressed with Pain personally. Imperial somehow as well. I appreciate their IGLs a lot. I think Bigazera and Vini have done a lot of good things. Considering their PCs, these are not the best players in the world in any sense. And yeah, I think they have a good chance here as well. As for Furia, they've definitely been better than with Fallen than Art. Let's be very, very clear about that. I think they've been way better, and they're in an upwards trajectory. So yeah, I think they could make it.
We've managed to construct reasonable opinions for once.
I think both of them are. I don't know about the 3 of the team. I mean, for 10%, yeah.
I actually think the
I could see a Brazilian team making playoffs. The
Yeah.
Brazilian one is definitely much more likely. The 3 non-European teams in playoffs. I think that requires
I would
a
need
fair amount to go
two
right because a lot
from
of
Group
them are
A and one
stacked
from
in
Group B,
A.
most likely.
Yeah, but that would mean that, like, out of NaVi, Liquid, FaZe,
Well, Liquid
MOUZ,
is a
or
non-European team,
Complexity. Oh right, sorry.
and
So
Complexity is also.
one
Yes.
NaVi. Yeah,
Navi,
but
FaZe, and
what I'm saying
MOUZ.
is, like, the teams that you would expect to go through, 2 of them being beaten. I could see MOUZ being beaten. FaZe, if they like flip a coin, there it depends how they've been on an uptick recently. Definitely been on an uptick. I think. Well.
Yeah, but you know how FaZe works.
Yes,
Of course.
I unfortunately.
I'm
do.
just banking. This is like obviously. This is my route to bring
I
in
can
Mongols
yeah, I can
copium.
see it being
That
10%.
I'm just hoping and praying that Group B Mongols make playoffs. My heart has been crushed. They got so close and then they didn't make it, and then they lost hope. But
Unfortunately, I feel like it's more likely that Eternal Fire make playoffs than Mongols.
well, yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But that Eternal Fire are technically a European team, depending on whatever thing you draw. But most people would say European, so they're European.
They're fully Turkish. Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, but they're in the RMR for Europe, right? So that's just like.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
gaming the system. Send them to
Well,
Turkey.
listen, the system is how I'm judging it, okay? We're playing the game of the system. We're using the system. So
Yeah,
if
I
we
guess.
listen, if APAC could take Turkey, then I would happily accept Turkey into our regional dominance, okay? We're struggling out here. We need everything we can get, but they're in the European RMR, so they're a European team, and as such, I'm praying on Mongols to do something because that's the best
Can't
way for me
argue
to get
with that.
3. Because I don't think 9Z are actually gonna do it. No offense, 9Z.
Yeah, I can see both of those takes being 10%. Like, any higher and I'd be having doubts, but 10%
I would
seems
say
about
20%
right,
for the
I think.
Brazilian one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because there's 3 in one group.
Because
The
there's a
odds are
lot of
actually pretty
Brazilian
high
teams. Yeah.
that one of them
All
makes
it takes
out.
is a good best of one, and then
Or they could just
Imperial
meet each
having
other
a...
in like a lower finals or something like, and then one of
Yeah,
them is
that's true.
guaranteed
That's
depending on
true.
how it happens.
It was supposed to be a 10 if you combine the fact that I said I have more faith in Pain and Imperial just because their IGLs are younger and I trust their calling is more adapted to CS2 than Fallen is.
Yes.
I still don't rate Fallen at all, and if I look at Furious stats, they are better than when Art was IGLing. With all those fucking random ass
Strange
buys that he
buys,
did.
yes.
Yeah.
Stays in your memory.
And all the fast round again. We do have 3 hits in the same side.
And then
with
near the
same
end, they tried to
thing.
go like old Navi slow for some reason. They're like fully,
Yeah.
they're like fully pivoted before
They are
collapsed.
better, but their stats are struggling. In for many of the players. So yeah, I would rate Pain and Imperial with more chances than Furia. So mainly Pain and Imperial for me.
It's kind of interesting. I think Furia has better chances, to be honest,
Yeah, I
personally, than
agree.
Pain in that
Ah.
group. It's kind of it's a weird 50-50 in my eyes because it all depends whether Pain can go through MOUZ first. But then I do think they can.
Yeah, sadly I
Yeah.
do as well.
Yeah, and then I do
It pains
think
me to say.
yeah, and I do think Furia can beat FaZe personally. The one I'm a bit less confident about is Imperial NaVi. I think
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna win
Yeah.
that one, but
yeah. I will say if they win Imperial, I'm not entirely sure if they give me a second, I'll tell you. Yeah, I think it all comes down to whether Inferno will be in question or not. If it's an Inferno between Imperial and NaVi, Imperial
well,
has
in the
a
best of
good
one, you
chance to win.
would.
Yeah, in
would
BO1
honestly-
Inferno, Imperial will take it.
Honestly, I put Imperial there because it's like, yeah, I would think Furia has more chances to beat FaZe than Imperial beating
Why do you
Navi.
think that? NaVi
But,
would let Inferno get through though. Sorry.
They shouldn't.
I need to
They
shut up.
shouldn't.
yeah.
They shouldn't, but you never know. Like, I'm just saying, the world I see Imperial beating
Yeah.
Navi from perspective of
I
like
also do think
where the percentages are the highest is if Imperial managed to pull through in the on Inferno in the BO1. If it's an Inferno BO1, the chances of Imperial beating Navi is the highest.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is that
Honest-
another thing that's relevant
I'm
and
sorry. I
slight.
interrupted
No, no, it's
Squared.
all good.
Sorry.
But just a small
but-
talking point that Imperial were technically a last minute substitution because of visa issues. Rest in peace, rare item, but that may be relevant. They may not have that much prep at all coming into this. But they also they do live there presumably, so like, they can make
But they
up for
literally-
the circumstances.
They've been having matches for last 3 weeks now.
Yeah,
Consistently on they had ESL Challenger League in South America. They played that. They had some CBAC's Masters. They lost to Red Canet, which is also an interesting squad of team. And I think they are more than prepped and
I
kind of
guess
ready
as ready
to
as
play.
they can be. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, I think we've
but I
what do you think?
I
What
do
are
agree.
you finishing off with your point?
yeah, Square. You wanted
I wanted to say that if somehow, Imperial do manage to get through Navi, I think the rest of the bracket is pretty good for them. Like, if you beat Navi, you play Liquid or Complexity, and that's a super winnable matchup.
Yeah.
If you beat that, then you're in the playoffs. So it's 1BO1, 1BO3. The BO3 being like what, Liquid or Complexity? You
also-
never know.
You also
know
need to
these
understand that the Liquid Complexity both are NA teams. So
Yes.
if they go through also, that helps also to the
That
cause
helps
of
my one. Yes.
3 out of 6. Yeah. So there is just a lot of aspects of it. I mean, if Mongols go through somehow to the
Yeah,
it
that's
also
my wild
helps.
card my prey moment.
There's just a lot of like aspects that can happen for 3 out of 6 to pull through, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, but I think 10%.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
10% is actually fair.
Yeah.
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 Okay, I think whose point was it that I combined into my one that also brought up the Brazilian teams?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted.
So we can move on to Kenny, right? Your 10%.
Okay, this one is an interesting one because I had an easier take for 10%, which I think we kind of a bit touched on a previous discussion. But the one I'm gonna go with is TL needs this deep run at IEM Rio more than any other team in this tournament for several reasons.
You know what? I'm
They've
gonna
been
counter
together for-
you after. I'll let you finish, but I'll counter you.
Yeah, for several reasons. I think it's first one is confidence. This team they've been showcasing that they've been better and better from perspective of how they play and what their ideology is. There's certain problems in this team that they're still working on. Secondly, because the Blast and Major Cycle are coming in, so the deeper the run is in this IEM Rio, the more in-game footage they will see for themselves to prepare better for Blast and prepare better for IEM for Major Cycle to start.
Mhm.
And then in reality, I don't think they have really that kind of a tough bracket, to be honest, to go through. Personally, I think it would have been worse for this Team Liquid team to be in a Group B than Group A. They should have certain mental advantage if they meet up with Navi in best of 3. I know that sounds crazy, but because of those 2 Blast group stage wins that they have, and their map pool, I think it fits in against Navi quite well. For a good fight. This Team Liquid squad, and I think that's pretty much it, really, from perspective of how I see this Team Liquid and why they need the deep run on this tournament for both their confidence and preparation for the Blast and Major Cycle. And
Okay. So let me hit
Okay.
you with a counter right there. I think VP needed the most
Ah, yes.
because
Talking my language. Yep.
VP. Listen, as someone who believes in the roster move and now is paying the price, it's been god awful. I agree. I think Liquid is high up there. They definitely need confidence. They definitely need like something to like put the stamp on it going forwards into the rest of the season. But if VP don't do anything here, the roster will genuinely like collapse. And I think they're already gonna collapse, even if they might even need to win this. Otherwise, it's a collapse anyway. But like, it's like if you look at their wins, who they've beat and who they've been losing to, it's kind of just embarrassing. Like low key. Like if they beat somehow they beat Vitality in the Esports World Cup. But like since the Esports World Cup, they lost to Liquid, they lost to Big, they lost to Complexity, they lost to Falcons. They beat Zero Tenacity, very well-renowned team, of course. And then they beat Big, which is an embarrassment of a team as well. But you know, and then they lost to Falcons,
Losing
then
to
they beat
Falcons,
Falcons.
yeah,
and then
like
it's like they're kind of
times as
trading
well.
wins with Falcons. Like that's the kind of level that they're at right now. And for it, like people forget that this VP team is supposed to be a good team because of how bad they've been. They forget that VP is supposed to be like some like the meeting of the minds, Jame and Electronic, the riflers of, you know, great winnings from the major that no one wants to remember.
But who they
like-
lost to is an important part. They've only really lost to G2, Vitality twice.
Yeah, but I think they need to start
FaZe.
beating a top team. Like
Yeah,
because
but
this
that's
team,
what I'm saying. It's like they need this deep run with beating top team no more than any other team in a bracket. At
But
the
I'm talking
moment.
about VP.
Like,
You're talking
no,
about Liquid.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm talking. Liquid. Yeah, VP. I don't know. VP is a dead team to me. Like that, they do not exist in my eyesight.
But
anymore.
if
They just
VP
attend
win this
tournaments
event,
as a
would
holidays.
it change the narrative? Yes, right?
No.
No, you
I
think
still
it
think they're a dead
wouldn't?
team. Even if they win this event,
Okay,
I would
and they
think of it
beat
as a
good
fluke.
teams along the way. It's a good trajectory, and they win. It's not a fluke like the last Rio.
It's a fluke. It's a pure fluke. There is no way.
But what?
VP,
Okay, if they play really well as well, okay, like,
can
I'm
be
putting it
consistent.
all in their favor. Like, do they not need the run? Otherwise,
That's a lot of ifs for VP.
yeah, exactly.
honest.
Which is
There's
why
a
they
lot-
need it, right? Because otherwise, this is their last one of their last chances
No,
to
but
do anything. No. Whereas Liquid, I feel like Liquid are more
They-
accepting of the fact that they're not complete yet.
Let's be honest. VP has not looked good for
Yes.
how many tournaments now? Do you think out of sudden
It's not
they
the
will
question of
come
whether
into
I
this
think they
tournament?
will do it. It's the question of your point is that Liquid are the one that needed the most.
Yes. Yeah, Liquid needed more.
But
For preparations of the Blast and Major cycles, they needed more than any other team at the moment. I think this tournament, because I don't think NaVi needs this tournament. I don't think Vitality particularly cares about this tournament. No, don't think. FaZe, they don't care just in general about anything. They just play the game.
so where does that? Let me just clarify. Where does the 10% come in?
For me, I think I need to reiterate probably my take to be more specific. I think TL will be in a final. That's
10%
that's my
chance.
10% chance TL in a final.
I need to think about this.
10% sounds.
They need to
For
win
TL,
1 to 2 crowd games, depending on if they get into the semifinal or not. I have to place it lower
Yeah,
than 10%.
I don't know. Yeah, same.
What is it not a lot, or you think?
I think it's like 5% at most. Because they have
I
to
think
win a
it's like
crowd
2.
game to make it to there. At least 1, if not 2. Right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if they can do it. They looked so bad. Like, really, really bad. Even compared to their normal, like, level where you see them pop up. Ultimate, complete non-issue. The calling was... calling has not been great in general. It's been okay at best. But
We're talking about the FaZe TL game, yeah,
Yes.
I assume. That was the one. But then if you're looking at the Vitality TL game, it was a 1 overtime, and then the second
But I'm
map was
talking about the crowd
13-11.
games.
Yeah, but
Because they need to win.
Like-
They need to win a crowd game to at least once and make it to the final. They would need if they get a good draw to build a confidence. If they get like a nice pass, like some upset team makes it through and then they face them, and then they get a warm up, and then I would say yes. The odds of the Stars, the way the Stars need to align for Liquid to be in the final is, I think there needs to be a lot going on. Like a lot.
I agree. They're still finding each other. They're not a complete
Twist
not a
still
complete
needs
team
to
No,
yet.
but
learn to
It's
in
better. It's better definitely than when they were playing with cadiaN, of course. I don't think anybody argues that, but
yeah,
their ceiling is still about the same.
Yeah,
I think.
my main
let's
issue
be
is the
honest though.
crowd part.
When we look at current Liquid from perspective of how they play, how the communication is, and how the ideas behind their plays, it makes sense. It finally does make sense what they are doing. Like in previous iteration with cadiaN, everything was just a clusterfuck. It didn't make sense what they were doing. It didn't make sense
Yes, there was no
how
vision.
they were playing. No,
Yeah,
but is this current team has a vision of how they
Well,
want
I
to
mean,
play.
I agree
The
that.
problem Liquid has is quite often in the firepower. For some reason, like it's like they're a bit not enough firepower.
I would say I wouldn't even
in
say
certain
that's the
aspects.
problem in my opinion. I would say, well, if I have to place it, I would say Twist's calling in a pressure game
That
is
too.
the main
T
reason.
side, T side, T side
Yes,
calling.
T side is the
on
roughest
the
because their CT is
TL,
not actually
it's
it's not a
rough,
huge
yeah.
problem, and also Ultimate in that playoffs game was not completely disappeared. Like if you
Yeah,
watched his
yeah.
POVs anytime, it was like he was a completely different guy, and I think that should fix itself if he gets more experience. But I think he needs more than this one, right? I don't think
But
he's gonna get
that's
dumpstered
why
by
this
FaZe,
tournament.
and then next
I just think
tournament
this
go into it.
tournament is important for them from that
I
perspective,
mean, I
and I
agree
think
it's
the preparation
important.
for this
I agree it's
tournament,
important.
preparation for this tournament will be heavy from TL side, from any other team attending, because they need to they have a very good chance of potentially going through in this tournament deep, and
Well, yeah, and they also just need
the
to keep
motivation
building more and more than any other team. Like
indeed.
NaVi doesn't need to for this tournament. I doubt they built too many new things. They don't have that much time. They would rather just keep going and then focus on building new things for like a major, right? Whereas Liquid need to keep building because
Yes.
they don't have enough at the moment.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's
And,
why I'm just ready to go with the crazy that TL gets to the final, and it's a 10%, and I'm pretty confident about that 10%.
I mean, I'm
would say-
even though I am a believer in Team Liquid, I still have to place it lower. But that's just me.
Yeah. Sif, how about you? You were about to say something.
My internet cut out. Sorry.
So good.
No, I don't think I have much to add to this
So you agree?
take. So,
10%
But,
chance Liquid makes the final.
oh yeah, I disagree with that. Sorry, as I said, internet did cut out.
Yeah. Basically, we
for a little bit.
transformed the take. Well, not transform, but if emphasize the actual take being.
Rejig
Yeah,
it.
we re-emphasized for sure because
Where would you place it? Where you placing it?
10%.
Because I'm saying
10%
5% at
Reaching the
is
most.
low.
final, like
yes,
that's wild to me. Like they can beat complexity, sure. Let's say the luckiest run possible, right? So beat complexity, Imperial beat NaVi, so they beat Imperial.
Mhm.
Let's say FaZe get beaten in the best of one, and MOUZ get beaten by Furia.
Well,
They
you
get
just need to
to-
think about who the easiest playoff
TL
opponent
against
they could
Furia.
have. Because
Yeah,
they need to make it to the
I
final.
just
They need to win.
I'd say like 5%, honestly.
Yes,
like
exactly.
10% is too high.
It's tough enough to win the group stage games. They still need. That's like fine, but winning.
They need
10%
so many
for
things to go
playoffs
right.
would be fine for me.
Yes.
10 for playoffs.
Well,
would be
actually, I would say
just
higher for
perfect.
playoffs, lower for final. It's like a
Oh
middle
yeah,
ground,
I could say
right?
they could get to playoffs fairly reasonably, but like finals, that's less than 10%. Like that's
Yeah. It's not that I don't believe they
that's-
can do it. It's just that I think they need one more run of
They need
being
so
in the
many
crowd.
things to go right for them to get to like quarters or semis.
Yeah, I mean obviously,
I think
but
they're
in
on
the
their
upper
way,
bracket.
but they're not there yet.
yeah,
They need they need one more piece, really. I think.
One more injection of experience, maybe two more. Who knows? But I
They
want to
need
see
to
them
remove
play a bit
YEKINDAR.
better.
I had a very spicy take about YEKINDAR, but I
Well, I mean,
decided
you
to just keep.
can drop it if you want.
I think given time, for in 4 or 5 months after the major and like first couple of tournaments, YEKINDAR will be the second highest rated player.
You know what? There's a non-zero chance. 10%. I'm actually kind of on board for one reason only. Is that and there's a small chance that YEKINDAR is getting emoed. Very small chance, but there's
What, like position wise?
that like because it's kind of I'm not gonna say it's similar, but like the vibes.
This team is good enough, but they need to merge. They need to like get to know each other better from perspective on
I also just think
on the server
I'm
how
just
to
it's
play.
YEKINDAR's form being this bad is honestly is more confusing than him being able to be good again.
What's weird is his event stats aren't atrocious. Like past 3 months, he's only had one negative event, which was Blast Premier, which was really bad. That was 0.77. But all the other
But he was
FaZe have
sick.
been
Yes.
1.04 and higher. But his he's got a decent average, but his ceiling is very low. Like his highest
he
in the
hasn't.
past 3 months
He
was
very rarely pops
1.08.
off the way he used to. That's ages ago
His
now.
his highest this year was IEM Dallas North America Open qualifier 1.32, which like when I was first reading that I was like, "Oh, IEM Dallas. Oh wait, North America. Oh, Open qualifier." You know? And then he drops down to 1.2 in the closed qualifier.
We have to look. We have to look really from perspective when the change happened recently and how he's been stable in the current squad, but stable poorly for his role. Like you just
Yeah.
don't. For his role, he should be doing much better than his. But I think there
Is
is
he
a
first entry or
requirement.
should be
He's
the
first
first.
entry.
Yes.
So first entry is a pretty tough spot, admittedly. But
yeah, but we have people like Donk
Yeah,
in
I
the
mean, you
game
can't really
right now,
compare.
and
Donk is no,
Donk is
don't even
superhuman.
bring him into a
It's
comparison
kind
with
of
another
unfair,
player.
but
That's unfair.
No.
he
as
should be
fuck.
doing better than he is, but we can't compare him to Donk.
no, but 1.05 is not good
Yes,
enough
that's
for
right.
YEKINDAR.
That's for sure.
And that's like for
Yeah.
Blast Fall groups 1.05, IEM Köln 1.05, IEM qualifier whatever, ESL Pro League 1.04. At least he is consistent. Like and then Blast Premier Fall is 077, which he was admittedly sick
Yes.
and everyone knew about it. So I can kind of like get that one out of question. EWC he was is it EWC 0.96? He was. So but my issue is I'm pretty sure he's a secondary caller currently
Yes,
for
it would make
Team
sense.
Liquid. Yeah. I think he needs time to adjust to the players he's got around him, especially in understanding each other and what you need to do in different type of situations. They need better protocols on T side in the situations of 2v2s, 2v3s, because quite often you see them lose those 3v2 advantages simply because of bad communication, understanding where you need to be in a position of the side when, for example, retake of the CT side is happening.
Yes,
So,
I mean, also another issue is that it's not like he's a secondary caller to an IGO who knows exactly what he's doing all the time.
Yeah.
Like Twist is not such an experienced IGO, obviously, and that secondary caller can feel free to kind of have the same kind of freedom as we know secondary callers can have at their best, right?
Yep.
So it's there's gonna be more weight on him. Maybe they're trying to fix that. It's like I would say the chances are low because it has been a long time since we've seen YEKINDAR like actually be good and great even. But as a 10%, I honestly agree because it's weird because there's no actual reason why he can't be good. It's just that he hasn't been good for a while. And it's like we've been like seeing it and believing it, and so now we believe he's not good, which is like true. But there's no reason he can't be good again. It's just hard to believe he can
I'm not
be.
gonna lie, I wasn't a believer in YEKINDAR for like years.
Yes,
like
but that I would say the reason that he
when
got
he
worse
first hit
back
the
then is
scene-
different to the reason that he's gotten worse now. Because I was there, I remember what you're talking about, where like in VP early days, he was online, he was insane, right? And
yeah,
the
'cause
drop off
it's the
was
same
like
thing with
very like
MOUZ.
linear and gradual over time. People figured him out and the strategy, but he doesn't play the same way then as he does now. And the drop off from like
Yeah.
the early times when he was in Liquid
Yeah.
and he could have great events like that and full American.
It's the IGL debuff, isn't it?
Yes, but also
Yeah.
he also maybe just doesn't have CS2 figured out either.
Yeah. I mean, it's what I see in YEKINDAR is what in early days YEKINDAR, side note, is what I see in MOUZ, to be honest. I think it's the same
Maybe,
thing where
yes.
every few years a player thinks that they've figured out CS by just thinking, oh, we can just be super aggressive, and they have great aim to back up their bad decisions. And it isn't a point, but I don't think that MOUZ is going to maintain this level of form
but
with
we
this
can
current play
that
style.
will take us like half an hour to
Specifically-
discuss, but
Yeah, but specifically with this play style, I don't see that being consistent. He's got good aim, but his decision making is
Yep,
it's unfortunate sometimes.
But that's why I think if given time with his current squad, without anyone touching the squad for like 4 months, I give 4 months. I think it's a good amount of timeline to see where YEKINDAR will end up with his squad.
yeah, I want to see some
After,
signs, but like
He definitely needs to figure out his role better. Maybe change some things, like change positions a bit,
start
or
hitting some
like how he
headshots,
decides
maybe,
to go
yeah.
about things.
I
Go
honestly
to-
think
yeah, go
also
to GM.
fundamentals.
Well, we'll see what the
I
new
think
maybe the
he's-
new update fixes him. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, there is certainly. I'm just looking in this TL squad and I can see like bits and pieces in this team that will potentially give them opportunity to be that top 5 team consistently.
Yeah.
But they need time.
Yes,
They certainly need time, and they need to work on their teamwork. They need to work on protocols, and Twist need to improve his T side. YEKINDAR needs to improve his aim. Like there is aspects of the game that need to work at, but the base is good.
Yeah, I
Like, the
agree.
base
I
of this
just
team
don't
is
think
very
it'll be
good.
this
So in
event. I think it
conclusion,
might be next event.
Yeah. In conclusion, I don't see.
Yeah.
Like, let's go round. I don't see it being 10%. Them getting
Yeah,
finals.
I was on 5%
that's
around
optimistic.
thereabouts. Yeah. Okay. I think we've got one final point, right? You've got your 10% to finish off.
Yeah. So my 10% is that FaZe will get to semifinals this event.
Is there a 10%?
Jumping straight into it. So, like, they've looked really poor in previous events, but the thing that's riding me here is, riding my point here is that they looked like, in terms of the Blast event, they looked a lot better, and it wasn't just like they were hitting shots, like even karagan was hitting shots, but everyone just looked so much sharper, not in terms of just like aim, but in terms of like communication, if that makes sense, like how they flowed as a unit. They seemed a lot closer to like what you would expect FaZe to be. I genuinely think that if the tech pause hadn't happened, they would have beaten NaVi. And I'll explain why. Is because final map they got blown out of the water. You could tell they were looking like physically exhausted. Like if you didn't watch the game, it went to like 12:30 a.m. something like that. European time. Like the time where it was being held. And part of that was because they had a 40-minute tech pause. In the first map. Not in in the first map. I genuinely think they started to lose a lot of like they had map point on Ancient in the 2-1 versus NaVi for like it was some ridiculous thing like 8 rounds, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was 8 rounds, yeah. And
oh wait, no, sorry, it was 11. They reached.
it was 10-4. Then they lose.
They reached 11-4.
8 in a row.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah, it was 10-4 for them. They
Yeah,
lose 8 in
yeah,
a
and they
row.
lost 8 in a row. That was it. Yeah, that's where I got the 8 from. Now, genuinely, they were starting to flag at that point, I think. Obviously, NaVi would be affected as well, but if you look at the average age of the teams, I think that FaZe would have been disproportionately affected by... Because if I remember correctly, they also had to play a game earlier that day, whereas NaVi were going into it fresh, because FaZe were in the lower bracket. I might be
Sorry,
wrong
sorry.
about... No, they
They-
didn't. They didn't.
No. I think it's opposite actually. I'm pretty sure Navi was the one.
No. September 28th. No, neither of them played 2 games.
No, okay.
But the average age of Navi is quite a bit lower than FaZe, if I remember correctly. Average age of FaZe 27. Average age of Navi 23.9.
Yeah.
I think that that's a fair, like, it sounds like cope, but I think it's a fair point to like make in
Actually,
terms
you know
of
what?
like
Low key,
they
I'm gonna agree
really
with you.
had
Because
they had a very
go
good
on.
chance of winning Ancient, and then they started to genuinely just flag. You could see that like they became more sluggish after the half. Things were like not clicking as much, and then by the time the third map came around, they were just like in pieces. I think cadiaN even said in the interview like that you could tell by his voice he was basically struggling to keep his eyes open, and he said basically as much in the interview. So I think with the mindset that FaZe has, they're not going to be too disheartened by this. I think it's there were several key moments. I mean that fucking clutch by fucking wonderful
yes,
at
near
11,
the end.
And
12
11-12 for Ancient. Yeah.
was unbelievable. Like I think other
that was
people
like a
have said
slight
it that it was
cadiaN
like
whiff, I think,
Simple.
as
He
well.
was
It was
stepping in
rough.
Simple's shoes for a second, but like it shouldn't have got down to that clutch in the first place because it was a 4v2, I believe, down to a 3v1. And you could tell that like the coordination was kind of gone a little bit. They were exhausted, I think. And I genuinely think that if they approach this with the right mindset, instead of going, "Oh, we could have won that," they're gonna go, "Oh, we could have won that." Like we've clearly something is working, and if it wasn't for these extraneous factors, we could have gone to finals possibly. And I think that they're going to take that and hopefully be motivated rather than demotivated. And we might see something special this event.
I don't know about special, but what I will say that does go in the favor of FaZe is that while maybe the rest of the team is up and down, cadiaN is actually low-key improving back to more reasonable form. I was loud with the
definitely, yeah.
criticism when he was down below, but he is pretty much back to his old IGO acceptable level that no one really criticizes him for, because that's basically the level.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
is fun for him.
Dallas 0.76, Premier Spring Final 0.7, and then 8-7,
Back to- he's
7-5,
he's
and then
he's at a
since Cologne
0.92 back
it's
to back.
8-8, 9-5, 9-2, 9-2.
Yeah, which is like
these are
perfect.
like a lot more reasonable for
Perfectly
IGLs.
fine for what cadiaN does. And so if then you look to the rest of the team, semifinals 10%, I would say fair. It's easy for them to lose to a lot of the teams that are showing up, but at the same time, I would honestly find, I would say it's more likely that they make a quarterfinal and win the quarterfinal than go straight to the semis.
Yeah. I think
Funnily
FaZe are a
enough.
team which genuinely they can. It's sort of like G2, but in a better way. They can lose versus anyone, but they can win versus anyone.
Hmm.
But FaZe do it in an entertaining way.
Well,
Yeah.
they're both entertaining. It's just people like FaZe and people don't like G2.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I agree with that. For the 10%, yeah, it's fair enough, I would say.
yeah,
They're
I
in
wouldn't
the
place them much
easier,
higher.
Yeah, 10% is good
A
enough for
bit
me.
higher,
In
but
the
like
current
10,
form.
10 for me is fine, I think.
Yeah.
Plus,
There
don't
is-
forget,
there-
it's a long trip to Brazil. Those old
Yeah.
That's
bones
true.
of
Those old guys.
cadiaN and Rain
Welcome
are
to
not
Brazil.
Yeah, I love how we're talking about FaZe like they're like 70 years old. Like,
I mean,
mean,
in terms of an average age for a
Yeah,
team,
but they can
27
they can take
is-
a flight to Brazil.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
But
No,
I
okay,
mean, actually, I'm gonna check that out. What's the average age of all the teams in the top?
Mongols gotta be the
Mongols
lowest.
have been the youngest this whole time because no younger
Spirit's
team have.
surely one of the lowest, right?
Yeah, Spirit will be low, but I think.
Well, it's because Chopper's kind of old,
was
right?
Chop-
So it brings
Yeah,
them
Chopper's 26.
lower than or higher
Yeah,
than
Chopper's.
Mongols.
But no, they're not attending Rio, so it doesn't count.
It's literally been a while
Pain
as
might
well
Pain
since
might
they've
be
been
younger than
in.
Mongols. I'm not sure.
I'm looking at the
No,
global
because
Valve
there is
ranking.
all.
You go
Oh,
and
yes,
talk, and I'll
true.
just look up these stats.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to say is that it's been a while since they've been in semifinals as well. So I think this blast result will do good for them mentally.
That's
to
true. A
make
little bit of
sure that
reinvigoration.
you can be up there, and you could have won against NaVi as well, especially if it goes to a BO5 with NaVi being on pressure about their BO5 results.
Yeah, well, that's kind of it's like the
It's,
weird FaZe thing that's always been the case, right?
yeah.
That like you
Yeah.
Well,
if I
You can never know
to make
with
a
FaZe,
point, if
honestly.
it had gone to finals, it wouldn't have been versus FaZe. It wouldn't have been versus Navi. It would have been versus.
yeah,
G2.
but in a hypothetical is what he's saying.
Not whoever.
I
it
mean,
was.
for Rio, if they go to the finals.
Oh, right.
Yeah, like the thing is, like I would better rather get FaZe in a best of 5 versus Navi than a best of 3 versus Navi, because that's just how
Yeah.
the thing is have panned out for
Agreed.
both teams, right? But yeah, I think that's a fair point. Before we end off, I think because we're talking about IEM Rio, we might get a little bit of a winner prediction from everybody just to round it off. I think that would be nice. It's tough to stray from. If I'm gonna go first, it's tough to stray from the Navi vitality, but you know what? I'm gonna say G2 wins this. As much as I hate to say it, I think every team is kind of
All right.
in a state of flux. I think G2 are gonna swoop in, ride the wave, and then that's gonna be all we see from them, hopefully. But I'm gonna say G2. Squared, who have you got?
All right.
Give us your
Sure.
prediction.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it as well.
On the spot right now.
But on the spot right now.
Yeah. What's
on
your
the
vibe say?
headlights, right. I think it's gonna be Navi. Yeah, I can take Navi here.
We got a
Uh,
reasonable prediction.
I think I would honestly, just to throw with you all, I would say MOUZ, but no.
But I can't even.
In the States, especially Brazil, MOUZ in Brazil with a Brazilian crowd, no.
Well, there needs to be a Brazilian.
I'll
crowd,
take-
but-
I'll take Navi. I'll take Navi. I think they're the best team. They would be eager to prove that they are still number one, and they will be eager to prove that their final streak is for real. And yeah, I think they're still the number one team in the world. I think they can take it here, especially if everyone else, as I predict, G2 or Vitality have a nightmare.
All right, Kenny, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I know one finalist that is already happening.
Of course, but who's gonna win?
I think it's Vitality. I think Vitality is taking IEM Rio.
All right. Sift,
All right.
you've got a lot of pressure here because we've got 3 different names. So if you pick the same one, you look like a bandwagoner because you went last. But
Yeah, I kind of want to go and like go.
Astralis.
I kind of want to go for a real wild pick like Astralis or FaZe. I think of those two, FaZe have a larger chance.
Which one
It
has your
really
heart?
Depends.
Astralis.
Yes.
No, I only watch Astralis for device. Let's be clear. I
Here
don't like the org is fucking despicable.
I was gonna say you watch it for NiKo and iHolmes. That's why.
Not anymore.
Watching no
No.
more.
Fuck it. I'm gonna say FaZe. I like logically, I would say like Vitality because I think they have more. They don't have the kind of mental block that Navi has in the best of 5. But if I'm gonna go for like not repeating what people have already said, I think I'm I'm gonna say Astralis makes semifinals, FaZe make finals. In like just a fucking pure vibes based, but we're gonna see, I guess.
Yeah,
Mm.
we're gonna see.
Okay.
I guess the good thing about the Rio ones is we're gonna be proven right in like 2 weeks. So, or wrong.
Yeah. Oh,
But
and going back to the stats of like oldest
Yes.
team, obviously Falcons at number 1, FaZe number
Oh,
2,
true.
Falcons aren't in
Eternal
this
Fire
event,
number
though.
3.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went through the whole top 20.
Ah, yeah.
Youngest 3 are Mongols, MOUZ, and Pain.
Yeah, that's Pain.
Pain are tied with Spirit.
Yeah.
Mongols, MOUZ, and Pain. So
And Pain
Mongols
slash
are the
Spirit.
youngest?
Pain and
Yes,
Spirit
Mongols
have
are, I
exactly.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
At an average age of 20.1. The average age of Mongols is 20.1. Average age of Falcons is 29.1. There's a full 9 years difference.
well, they're gonna
That's
keep inviting old
fucking-
guys, right? So it's not gonna get much better for them, is there? Simple and NiKo are pretty old.
Simple is young. I think actually
Simple's
Simple
27.
reduced the average age because it used
Yeah,
to be
well, of
over
course
30.
it'll reduce it. If they increased it, I would be concerned. But it's
No,
not getting that
how
No,
much
old
but
is
better.
like-
Sampaius? How old is
Um,
Sampaius then?
26,
Sampaius
27?
is 25
No.
actually.
Actually, no, it does get worse.
It does
Wait,
get
he
worse.
did increase the average age. Fucking hell.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Because
like,
I forgot
there's
that he
no
was not
way-
replacing an old person. He's replacing some bias.
Wait, so if NiKo replaces like Magisk, is NiKo
No,
older than...
NiKo's not replacing
NiKo-
Magic. We know that. but-
Madden is
Yeah,
still-
NiKo is 27 as well. So like
Madden
the
is
average age is
25.
going
Yeah,
up.
if
Yeah.
Madden and
We're gonna
Sampaius
break
leave,
30,
it can get
boys.
worse.
We're gonna break 30, boys.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
why
and-
not?
I mean, it's because Snappy is 34, isn't it?
Well, it
Well,
wouldn't break
Active Play is
30,
pretty
but...
hard. But anyway, I think that's they're not even at the event, so we won't need to think about it at all.
Yeah.
So
No, yeah,
yeah,
but,
that does it for this episode. You know, we'll see how all of our takes age as quickly as the time passes. So thanks for watching
Yeah.
another episode. We'll see you for the next one in approximately a month. Who knows? So yeah.
have a good one.
Thank you.
Good
Bye.
one.